So today we're going to cover listing, leads, and luck.
Yay!
Oh,
Hey.
didn't St. Patrick say about luck? That was totally unplanned. Like that, I was just looking for another L. Traditionally, it would be listing, leads, and leverage, but I was scared to get sued by Gary Keller due to his book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, using that term. So we're listing, leads, and luck. Don't wait, create your own, right? Create your own everything. Create your own listings, create your own leads, and create your own luck. We're going to go over and cover all of those parts today, fairly in detail. We're going to feed you sometime in the middle, though. So you guys just got to make it through like halfway, and then we can recharge with food.
But on the second half, we're just gonna be the best half, so you want to come back.
Yes, don't leave. There'll be a surprise at me.
Yes. Ready?
All right. So everyone got pens, everyone's got paper. This question is open for everybody. Why should I list my home with you? Right? Because in this market right now, we all want listings, correct? Listings will be great. That's like the golden ticket right now. Because I'll tell you, I've got buyers, right? Which is great. I'm taking them out. I'm showing them houses. Sometimes we're even writing offers. Really good offers, but sometimes not good enough to get accepted. So the buy side right now is, I'd say, a little harder than the list side. Right? So if I could focus my energy, if I had to choose one, I would say give me 80% listings, 20% buyers, right? Buyers are still getting accepted. They're still there, but it's probably 2 to 3 times more work than the listing, right? The way I break it down is the buyers will find you. The listings, you have to find them, right? We've got buyers flying to us left and right. The listings is what we have to find. That's the golden ticket, right? So say I want to list my house. Why should I list with you? Who's got a good reason? That explains our inventory. Facebook marketing. I should list with you because of Facebook marketing.
Because we have more sources. We don't use this one source, not this one unless.
Okay, so I should list with you because of multiple sources. The buyers, you're gonna find the buyers from multiple sources. I like that. That's acceptable. Who's got one?
My stats are top notch.
Top notch. This guy is top notch. You got a billboard?
Nope, don't need it.
All right, I might accept that. We got a top notch guy over
Why
here.
should I spend money on a billboard when I could spend money marketing it?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Winning.
There you go.
Jamie has one.
James got one. I should list my house with you
Because I'm a solo agent, you'll only work with me, and I'm still trying to establish myself, so you'll be more important than with someone who has 30 listings.
Okay.
I
That would work good for
100%
now,
agree with that.
until you're a big bad agent.
I think
What happens when you go on vacation?
Oh!
I'll have it sold by then.
Look at all these objection overcomings. Who else has some reasons? We got good stuff. We got top notch. We got multiple sources of buyers. It's all stuff that I want to hear.
Make a personal network.
Personal network. You know what they say? Your network is your net worth.
Aha. And I'm screwed.
Personal network. Okay, I'm taking notes just in case I want to hire anyone. Who else has one? Why should I list with you? Why should I list my home with you? I'm gonna list my home right now. Why should I list with you?
I'll get it sold.
It's a good reason. Simple enough. Why not, right? No need to sugarcoat it. I'll get it sold.
How about I can get it sold with minimum days on market for maximum price?
Oh, can you?
I can.
What happens if I'm on the market longer than 2 weeks? Can you sell it for free?
That's not minimum.
That's not minimum time. I'm gonna go with you if you're giving minimum time. So if we go into maximum time, I want to be compensated. My house isn't sold by you in 2 weeks. I want you to sell it for free.
For free?
For free.
Do you work for free?
I do my job of the job that I'm told to do in the time I said I'm going to do it.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. Come on, be confident. Be confident. You know what? If I don't have your house under contract in 2 weeks, I will waive my listing commission. Absolutely.
Okay. I don't have to pay your listing commission at all? I don't have to pay any commission at all?
If I don't have your house under contract in 2 weeks, I will waive my side of the listing commission, yes.
And then
The
you'll,
other agents still
you'll
want to
still
get paid
sell
for
it?
their work. Absolutely, I will.
okay.
If I can't do my job, if I can't sell your house in 2 weeks, I'm not doing my job. So I don't deserve to get paid. I won't take a paycheck. Does that sound fair?
Not to you, but I'll take it.
Same here. Don't try that.
I'm waiting for the next
Yeah, no, that's it. That's all I got.
That's not what we're
Yeah,
teaching
yeah, we
today.
have some fine print. All right, we'll flip to our next slide then, which is going to cover why I haven't listed my home with you. And I will tell you why I haven't listed my home with you. Number one, I don't know who you are. Bottom line, right? I don't know who you are. If you're in obscurity, how am I going to list my home with you, right? If you're not in my face every day showing me that you're listing homes, selling homes, that you're in real estate, why am I going to list with you, right? I might not list with you because I'm not ready to sell, right? What would you tell me if I said I'm not ready to sell right now?
I would ask you why you're not.
Why, right? We want to find out why. We want to come to the why. Why am I not ready to sell, right? So number one, I don't know who you are. Why don't I know who you are?
You're marketing yourself enough.
You're not marketing yourself enough. I like that answer, right?
It also goes with number 3.
Also goes to number 3.
You didn't ask.
You didn't ask.
You didn't come to me
You
and
didn't
find
ask. You didn't ask, right? So one, I'm not ready to sell. I don't know who you are, and you didn't ask, right? When is the last time you asked somebody for a listing? If somebody asked somebody for a listing in the last 24 hours, raise your hand. It's bad, right? If we're in a market right now where we know we need listings, we should be asking people every day, whether we're asking random people in Facebook world, in the metaverse, right, at Senate Coney Island, we should be asking people consistently that we want to list their home, right? I'm not going to list with you because I didn't know, right? I don't know who you are, right? Are you in my mailbox, right? Are you at my front door? Right? Are you on a billboard? Right? How am I going to know who you are and what you do if you're not telling me? You need to make it very clear who you are, what you do, and what you want from me. Right? We should be asking people these things constantly. Right? This starts with building our database. Right? We want to have our database. We want to have our power base. Right? The difference between this, our power base. These are people that already know, like, and trust us. Family, friends, acquaintances. You know. Where do you do business? Do you go to the same credit union? Do you know the teller there? Do you go to the same party store at the corner of your house 2-3 times a week, right? Do they know who you are? That's going to be your power base. These are going to be the people that, hey, if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, will you tell them about me? Hey, can I drop these flyers off at your store? Hey, do you mind if, you give me a number of a family or friend that you think might need my help? We need to be constantly asking these things. Otherwise, nobody's going to know who we are, and they're not going to sell with us, right? It hurts me personally when I go onto the MLS and I see, oh, look at all these coming soons. Look, there's business out there. There's people listing their houses, but they're not listing with me, right? So I asked myself, why aren't they listing with me? Why did they just list with Steve from Steve's Realty? Maybe that's a family. Maybe that's a friend. Maybe it's somebody that was in his mailbox. Maybe it was someone that knocked on his door. Maybe it's someone that called his house, right? Somehow he found out who this guy was, what he wanted to do. That's it. There's people out there selling their homes, right? Yeah, the inventory's low, but guess what? It's still there. You go on the MLS, there's still new listings. There's still coming soons. There's still open houses. So people are listing and selling, just not with us. So we've got to change that. In order to change it, we've got to stay in front of them, right? So who has a couple ideas on how, tell me who you are, right? If I don't know who you are, what do?
Give them a card.
Tell me, right? Give me a card. Give me a card. My name's Mike. I sell houses, right? We're merch, right? We're an Elite Realty hoodie. We're something that shows I sell houses. I've got a hoodie, and on the back it just says, I sell houses, 844, let's buy. That's it. I wear it to the gym. So I'm standing on a treadmill for 45 minutes and everybody's behind me. Somebody's can see it, right? Literally let people know what you do as much as possible, right? That's how networks are built. People introducing you to people, right? So social media, direct mail, phone calls, flyers, door hangers, contact that power base, right? And have people speak for you. That's going to be one of the most powerful ways for people to find out who you are. I can send out 5,000 letters right now saying I'm a realtor and I want to sell your house. But if Tamika tells her friend, hey, I really like Andy, he's a good real estate agent, you should sell your house with him, that's going to hold far more weight than those 5,000 letters that I send out, right? Have people speaking for you. I recommend people constantly, right? If I know a good attorney, I'm passing his number out to everybody. If I know a good painter, I'm passing his number out to everybody. I'm speaking for these people. There's nothing in it for me. I just know, like, and trust them. So I want to see them get the business because I know, hey, you're safe. Because if I put you in the hands of, John the painter, he's going to take care of you at a good price and the house is going to look good. Right? So I want to refer these people out. So if you're good at what you do, or if people like you, they're going to tell people about it. Right? So we need to make sure that not only are we telling people about ourselves, but we're telling our friends to tell people about us. Right? When's the last time someone asked for a referral?
Yesterday.
Yesterday? Yesterday's good.
I
See a hand. Yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some yesterdays in here. Who's been longer than a week? Straight up ask, like came out and asked, hey, hey, I need money, man. I got bills to pay next month. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell a house? Who do you know that could benefit from my services? Right? If it's been more than a week, we're doing it wrong. Right? Like I said, any way we can ask for this, guys, right? Social media, it's going to take 5 minutes, right? When's the last time you were on Facebook or Instagram? Today, right? But you haven't asked for a referral in a week. That's bad, right? We were on Instagram and Facebook today, but we did not ask anybody for a referral today, right? We've got to constantly be growing our business, right? That's the thing with this industry and this business. You guys are all either your best or worst employees. It's you, right? You guys essentially own a business without having to worry about rent, phones, staff, right? We've got that handled for you. We've got a roof over your head. We pay the electric bill. We've got phones. We've got internet today. We've got free coffee. How exciting is that, right? And you guys aren't responsible for any of that. All you're responsible for is marketing yourselves. Asking your friends and family to market yourselves for you, right? That's it. If you look back and see that your business didn't make any money, how do I make more money, right? If I looked and saw, wow, ever since Kim started at the front desk, we've been getting less and less clients. This isn't good. We should probably fire Kim. If I look and see, wow, the agents are happy. Everybody's files are audited. Everyone gets their checks on time. We should probably give Kim more money, right? We're going to sit there and audit the employees and see what's going on. If you guys are your only employees, you should be auditing yourself. If your business is failing, it's of no one else's fault but yours, right? At the end of the day, that's where it's going to come down to. It doesn't matter what brokerage you go to, what leads are handed to you, right? It doesn't matter. If you're not doing the work, it's not going to happen, right? So try and schedule it, right? Scheduling and consistency, those are the two things. Any agent that comes to me and says, I need more money, I need more deals, I will tell you why your business is not where you want it to be. You're either lacking in scheduling or consistency, or both, right? So we need to schedule out, when are we going to do these things, right? When am I going to ask for business on social media, right? When am I going to send out direct mailers? When am I going to make phone calls? Right? We should be doing something to grow our business every day. Because I can list out probably 30 things a day we do that doesn't grow our business, right? But if I tell me the things you did to grow your business today, that list is going to be a lot shorter, right? I'm not ready to sell. Okay, even for the right price and terms, you wouldn't sell? If you were able to name your price and terms, you wouldn't sell your house, right? Well, maybe, right? And crazy enough, in this market, you almost have that power to literally name your price and terms. Oh, it's worth $150. I want $180, and I want to live here for 90 days after for free. You think somebody would buy that? Yeah, right? Okay, you can get that done. That sounds freaking insane, but that's the way things are moving right now. right? So as a seller, you almost have the power to name your price and terms, right? Just like they say, everything's for sale for the right price. Right? So if we can make that price, make those terms happen, we can open that door for conversation with those sellers, right? Make the offer, right? You've got to find their pain or find their pleasure, right? If you sell your house, what's going to happen? Well, if I sell my house and make $100,000, right, I can finally move down to Florida, right? If I sell my house and make $100,000, I can finally go here. I can do this, right? Well, if I sell my house and make $100,000, where am I going to go? What can I do? All the houses are crazy, right? We have to find an option for that. Step 3, we didn't ask, right? So now we're going to cover when and how to ask, right? Somebody said, who said? Someone said they asked someone to sell their house. Yeah, someone sold their house. How'd you ask them?
It was a friend of my aunt's. I was at my aunt's house, moving furniture for her.
Okay.
And she had mentioned, well, my aunt mentioned that I was a realtor when we got introduced. And she bought a house, not this past November pre-COVID for 115 in Garden City.
Okay.
And it's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, corner lot. And I asked her if she wanted to make $90,000.
I love that. Right? I love that. Right? So we're going to ask, right? And who do we ask, right? So that hit 2 of the things, right? She had someone from her power base, a family, a friend, someone that knows, like, and trusts her, put her name out there and say, oh, this is Jamie. She sells real estate, right? If the more we can have that, the more business that we're going to get, right? The more people we have cheering us on, the more business we're going to get. Right? Because like I said, I can send out 5,000 letters right now, go knock on 200 doors, just cold call people, right? I might get some leads from it, right? But I also might get more leads if I had 20 people screaming about how good of a realtor I am. So if we can get people we know, like, and trust to help us, right? Come up with some marketing material, right? Sometimes more than a card. Right? If there's something that, you know, friends or family or anybody could pass out, right? We got to help. Expired listings, right? Expired listings, they're still out there. I look in Vulcan every day. There's still expired listings popping up in this market. Granted, they're probably overpriced. They might be a crazy seller. They might have had a really bad agent, right? But they're still out there. They're still coming up. There's still people getting them, right? If you don't get them, they can still possibly refer you to somebody, right? There was an agent out there that they went on $1 million listing appointment the other day because of an expired call they did. They did the expired call. The guy said, I'm not interested. I'm not going to relist my house. But he was so impressed by the agent through the call, he referred one of his friends to him and said, hey, if you sell your house, you should call this guy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, right? So even making the calls, even if you don't get that sale, there's a possibility for other sales and other business out there, right? Network is your net worth. So if you talk to one guy about selling his house, well, guess what? Now I just added you to my network. I really liked that phone call I had with you. I'm not ready to sell my house, but I will tell my friends that you're a freaking animal and that when they sell their house, they should call you. And what's next? You didn't ask, right? So next, right? For sale by owners, mail and social media, right? For sale by owners are also out there, right? A big thing we see with for sale by owners, everyone thinks this market's so easy, I'll sell it myself. When's the last time someone called a for sale by owner? Oh, was it a couple months ago?
But they already have agents.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you find them?
My client.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it wasn't really.
Right? So for sale by owners, they're out there, right? Step 1, why am I for sale by owner? Most of the times because I think I'm going to save money, right? I don't need you because I can save money. Absolutely, right? I don't need a dentist because I can rip out my own tooth with a pair of pliers. Probably not the best idea. Might not save money in the long run, but today, right now, it will. Right? Today, right now, I feel like, why not? Right? It's easy enough. So I can sell my house. I don't need a professional to represent me. I got 50 people that want to buy my house right now. That's great. So in order to save 3%, you're willing to lose 10? right? So here's the thing, I tell the for sale by owners, I have no doubt that you will find a buyer for your house. That is 100%. I know that by your minuscule for sale by owner marketing, you will find somebody to buy your house. Are you prepared to negotiate your price down when something comes back on the appraisal or the inspection? As a matter of fact, did you even call to see if their lender pre-approved them? Have you seen a pre-approval letter or proof of funds? How far have you gotten this process? Because you're meeting random people at your house to show them. This guy says he wants to buy your house for $200,000. It'll appraise at $150,000. Did you check his proof of funds that he can cover the difference? Do you have an appraisal gap guarantee in there? What happens when he comes back to negotiate the inspection? So you just lost $30,000 because you didn't want to pay 6%. Which is true and true because it happens and happens and happens. It's even happened to somebody in this room.
Or even 3%. What are you talking about? What'd I do?
You ripped off a for sale by owner when you bought your house.
I did rip off a for sale by owner.
Yeah.
I 100%.
Right? The guy lost his money. So he listened. And guess what? He's up against a freaking trained professional. Right? He's up against an somebody that knows these contracts inside and out. Somebody that's negotiated for others 100 times in these deals. Right? It's almost ridiculous to go up against that. If I was going into court and facing life in prison, I'm not going to go up against the top criminal defense attorney by myself. Absolutely not. I'm going to go to jail, right?
A lot of times it's just 3% because they're willing to pay.
They're willing to pay the other agent. Yeah. Oh, bring me a buyer. I'll pay you 3%.
Yeah.
So you're doing all this to save 3%,
Yeah,
right?
that's what they all say.
Right. So you want to save what, $6,000? If I can make you $20,000 more.
I have
Right.
one right now that she keeps calling me. She's like, I don't know. And I'm gonna not let her use an agent.
So what I tell them is, all right, what is this about? Is this about you making money or me making money? Right? Because right now it sounds like you're worried about the money I'm going to make. Right? Let's focus on the money that I'm going to make you. Right? If I can net you more, if I can get you a bigger bottom line, is it worth it to pay me? Right? Right? It's tax time right now, right? It's tax time. CPAs. If you were to pay an accountant $5,000, but they saved you $15,000, is that a good investment? I think so. Right? Someone's like, oh, why would I pay $5,000? I can just do TurboTax myself. No way I'm going to pay someone $5,000. But if you're paying someone $5,000 and saving $15,000, then it doesn't sound like that bad of a deal anymore. We go next. Go next.
I got a question about that last
Yes.
one real quick. So when people say, why should I sell now and I won't have a place to live, or I'll be buying a house at an inflated price, what do you say?
I let them know, like, I mean, just like you got more you offered for your home, that now becomes a comp in the neighborhood, right? So yeah, we listed your house for $150 and it's sold for $170. Now, when the neighbor across the street lists their home, they saw that you just sold for $170, so they're going to list theirs for $180, right? So essentially, that value catches up to the neighborhood, right? Because it's all going about what's sold. So right now, you're looking at it as, I'm paying $30,000 more than this home is worth. But once you buy it, that's what that home is worth. Like,
So I just had this conversation with my dad yesterday. Actually, I was walking around and I don't even know how we got to talking about real estate, just works its way in. But he was talking about his house, and he has this like little ranch in Waterford that he bought like 8-9 years ago. And I was like, you know, you got $100,000 in equity in your house, right? $100,000. He's like, yeah, but where will I go? I'm like, to a house twice the size with your $100,000 down, paying half the interest rate. When we got you into your home, interest rates were 6.5%, 7%. So I can literally put you in a house twice the size for the same actual payment, and you're putting $100,000 down, which is going to make your rate even lower. Or you can take that and buy all new furniture for your house. So do you want a house that's twice the size with all brand new furniture inside, or do you want to keep the house you have for the same amount each month? And that's what we need to get people's heads out of. It's not about the price tag, it's about what you're paying monthly. And I'm going to put you in a house twice as big for the same amount per month and let you fill it with new furniture and new stuff. You want your old appliances or you want new appliances? You want your old furniture or new furniture? You want a house twice the size? Because we can do it for the exact same price. And that's what people need to understand. We got to talk about that monthly payment and get them off that. Ain't nobody's keeping the same house for 30 years. That doesn't happen. So you don't have to worry about the actual price tag. It's what you're paying each month, right?
It's gonna be, yeah, exactly. It's that monthly payment. So same thing with the car market right now, right? We sold our car. We bought a car 2 years ago for 48,000. We put 40,000 miles on it. We sold it back to the dealership for 49,000. Great. On the new price, they literally marked it up $5,000. They wrote on the window sticker plus 5,000 market adjustment. But even with paying 5,000 more, I got a newer car with more features and options for $20 less than what I was paying. Because I made $12,000 selling the car that I drove around for the last 2 years. It's like, yeah, that's not like, oh, who wants to pay $75,000 for a car? But if I made 12, no, it's only 65. So the 5,000 they're adding on is technically washed out because I made money at the sale. Made sense in my head. Paying less money now for a cooler car. It's a good deal to me. Right? So with expireds, this will be a quick rundown of the script because it goes back to we need to tell people who we are and what we do. So if you guys aren't calling expired, for sale by owners, right, pre-foreclosures, you're not going to get those listings. Somebody else is calling them and somebody else is getting them. Right? So in order for us to get them, if that's what you want, right, which everybody said in the beginning, yes, I'd love to have more listings. This is one of the ways we're going to get them. Right? If anyone's ever called an expired listing before, this is the script that I use. It's super basic, goes through everything. And if you want, we can all read it as a group. Hi, Andy. It's Andy with Elite Realty, right? The reason for the call is I see your home was recently listed and didn't sell. I was curious to see what are your plans with the property. This gets right to it. You only have those first 5 seconds. They're going to decide if they want to talk to you or not, right? So I'm getting right to it. Look, dude, I saw your house was for sale. I'm curious, what are your plans? Right now, I've got a buyer for you. Not, hey, let me sell your house for you. What are your plans? Right? What are your plans? Most times they say, you know what? I don't know. I think I'm going to hold off. I might wait. Okay, well, had the home sold, where were you moving to? Right? That first question right there is going to be the response to 99% of whatever they say in that opening line. What are your plans with the house? Well, I'd really love to sell it. Okay, had it sold, where were you going to go? Well, I don't think I'm going to sell it. I'm going to wait until the spring. Okay, well, had it sold, where are you going to go? Right? That's going to be your response to anything. That's going to open up the conversation. Well, I wanted to go to Florida. All right, well, what takes you there? This is opening up more conversation. We're going to get to that other value for them. We're going to try and find that pleasure. If I was to sell your house, where would you go? I'd go to Florida. What takes you there? Well, I've already got a house down there. Okay, great. How soon would you want to be there? Well, I listed my house last year. I was hoping to be there by February or March. Okay, that's understandable. So look, what do you think stopped your home from selling? This right here is a key question. This is going to tell you what they're looking for in life. This is going to tell you all of their pains. Question one, we found their pleasure, right? What happened if it would sell? I'd move to Florida. I'd move up north. I'd go to the East Coast, right? That's going to be their pleasure, right? This is great. This is what I want in my life. Their pain, what stopped your home from selling? I'm going to tell you, well, you know, we got a couple offers, but nothing came through. Maybe the buyer's financing. I don't know. We had 50 showings, but nobody offered on it. You know, they said that my carpet was too old and needed to be replaced. Someone said I was priced too high. They're going to tell you all of the pains that stopped it from selling. This is where we take our notes because this is what's going to get us locked into that sale, right? Then we're going to go into, how did you happen to pick the last agent, right? The reason I ask that is because I want to know, is it your cousin? Do I have a fighting chance at getting this, right? Your mom's a realtor. Are you not going to list with her to go with me? Maybe, right? But odds are probably not, right? So I want to know, how did you find them? They're going to tell you, well, it was a friend. It was a referral. It was a postcard I got in my mailbox. They'll let you know, all right, well, that's great. What did they do that you liked best? This is also going to help us build our arsenal on how we're going to list them. What do you think they like best? Oh, professional photos. He was really easy to get a hold of, right? Oh, they did open houses every Saturday and Sunday. These are going to be the things that we want to speak on later on. We know what you don't like now. We know what you do like, right? What do you feel that they should have done? This is a huge question right here. What do you feel they should have done? Most of the time, you're going to get a cheesy, I feel like they should have sold my house. Well, besides sell your house, what is something else you think that they should have done for you? Well, I wish that they would have returned my calls. I wish I would have got feedback from the showing. We had 50 people through the house, man. I got to pack up my kids, my dog. I got to clean this place. We had 50 people come through the first week, and I don't know what happened to them, right? Feedback's important to you. I'm going to write that in my notes. Right? What would you expect from the next agent that you choose? Well, I'd like them to sell my house, right? Obviously. So, Steve, what I'm hearing is if we could sell your house and get you to Florida in the next 60 or 90 days, right? While keeping in contact with you, holding open houses, doing those professional photos, would you be open to possibly relisting your home? I've taken their pain, I've taken their pleasures, I've mashed it all into one big sentence. Would you possibly be interested in relisting your home? If I can do this, this, and this, I'm building the perfect scenario in their minds. So why wouldn't you? Right? You want to go to Florida. You want to be there in 90 days, right? You want to get your home sold. If I could do all these things, would you consider relisting? Not many people are going to say no, right? Because I just told you everything that you told me. I'm available this week to stop by and review what we can do to get your home sold this time around, right? It's Tuesday or Wednesday. Set that appointment, lock it in. It's fire right here. Who wants to try? I'm going to need one of you guys to read this. It's almost, Kylie will read it. She's an expired caller.
All right. Hi, Andy. It's Kylie with Elite Realty.
Hi.
Hi. The reason I'm calling you today is I noticed that I don't know how to swallow. No, I noticed that your home was recently listed and didn't sell. I was curious to see what your plans are for the property.
I honestly, I don't even know anymore. Probably just going to end up staying here.
I understand, but had the home sold, where would you be moving to?
I was actually hoping to move to the subdivision across the street.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What do you like about over there? What takes you over there?
They've got a lake.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So how soon did you want to be there?
This year.
This year?
This year, yeah.
I can understand that. So tell me, what do you think stopped your home from selling?
I honestly, I wish I knew. We had one guy, he actually put in an offer, he did the inspection, and I guess his realtor said he just never heard from him again. And then we put it back on the market and things kind of slowed down and nobody came and looked at it anymore.
That's unfortunate. Okay.
Absolutely it is.
All right. So how did you happen to pick the last agent that you listed with? How did you come across them?
They sell a lot in the area. I always see a sign up while I'm, running through the subdivision, so.
All right, so you just found their sign and gave them a call. And was that the only agent you spoke with, or did you speak to other agents as well?
Yeah, no, I just called him up. He's with, Keller Williams. They're a pretty big company out here.
Yeah. So tell me, what did that agent do that you liked the best?
They did a great job. I mean, they got really good photos of the house. The description was amazing. They posted it. They said it's on like Zillow and Realtor, and they kind of blasted it all over the internet and stuff. So that was cool. We got a lot of interest in it right away.
Okay, so they did some pretty aggressive marketing.
They did, yeah.
Okay, so tell me, what did you feel that they should have done?
I wish they would have sold my house.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but was there something specific professionally that you wish that they would have done better, or at all?
You know what? Honestly, I wish that I knew what happened to all the people that came and saw the house. And I wish I would have known what's keeping them from making an offer. So like I said, at this point, I was willing to lower the price, I did fresh paint, I got my carpets cleaned, I did all the stuff they told me to do.
Okay, all right, so it sounds like you didn't get a lot of feedback from your
Yes,
agent
yes.
after the showings. Okay, so tell me this, what, if you do engage another agent, what would you expect from the next agent that you pick to work with?
I need them to actually sell this house. Right, I mean, absolutely, without a doubt, it's super inconvenient. I've got family, I've got pets, I've got kids. Literally, the showing process of this house, it's what makes me not want to sell it again. It's a 3-hour ordeal trying to get my house ready for people to show.
Okay. All right, Andy. So what I'm hearing is that if we could sell your home and get you into the subdivision across the street within the next 6 months, while also making sure that we do some aggressive marketing and follow up and getting you some feedback, that you would be open to a discussion about possibly relisting your home.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, possibly. I'm probably going to wait, but I might be interested.
So why are you going to wait? Because you just shared with me that you'd love to move across the street. You want to get your home sold. So what's holding you back?
Just going through it all again.
Right.
It was, 3 months on the market, people coming into my house constantly. Like I said, my schedule is super busy. So trying to find time to get the house showing ready was literally a pain. I've got a 6-year-old kid that just constantly leaves a mess of destruction behind him. So it's, I don't know if I want to do that yet.
All right. Well, I can understand that. Well, one thing that our team does to, kind of get some more eyeballs on the property without being super convenient is open houses. Did your last agent do an open house?
We had one, yeah.
Okay.
We ended up doing this.
But you said you didn't get any feedback on, any of the.
We did. He said there was like 10 or some families through, 10 groups of people that came through, but I don't know.
All right.
I mean, there was a lot of other houses for sale too, maybe that were nicer than mine. I don't know.
Okay. So let me ask you this. If we could, get your home sold in the time frame that we talked about, get you into a home across the street, while making sure that we're not super inconvenient with hundreds and thousands of showings, would you possibly be open to relisting your home or at least chatting about it?
I think so.
All right, cool. I'm available Wednesday and Friday to come out and have a chat with you and bring some research and talk about how we're going to get this done for you. What's better?
I mean, if you want to come by Wednesday, I'm not going to sign anything.
Okay.
Right? I don't want you coming over and thinking that I'm going to sell my house right now. Right. But if you want to come by, look at it and leave some stuff with me, I'm okay with that.
All right. So what day did you want to do that? I've got Wednesday and Friday.
We can do Wednesday.
Okay. What time?
Anytime. I work from home.
All right. Let's do 12:30.
Okay.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see you then.
All right. So did anybody see what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Literally from the beginning of the call, I said that I want to wait. I don't. My biggest thing is I want to wait. I don't want to do this. But once those first questions come in, it reminds me of why I did want to do this. Right. So keep in mind, if I'm an expired listing, I've already been through I've agreed to sign a contract, get a lockbox on my house, and pay you guys 6% to get this place sold for me, right? One of your realtor friends showed up to my house one day, promised to get me $400,000, and have it sold in 30 days. I'd be able to get a house across the street, right? I'm picturing my new life across the street on the water, right, with the money I just made from selling my house, and then you crushed my dreams. So now I'm like, you know what? Is it really worth that pain? Is the pleasure of living on the water worth all of this pain that I'm going to have to go through to sell my house and get lied to again, essentially from one of you realtors that came in, promised me the world, and didn't deliver? I'm hurt. I'm scarred. I'm emotional. But you reminded me of why I was doing this, right? To get across, if I could make it easier for you, if I didn't inconvenience you, right? You took everything that I hated about the last process and said, if I can do it without those things, would you accept it? Yes.
Can I give some feedback?
You can.
Okay, so something for you guys to remember is number one, like you learn this in sports as a kid, like you should practice how you plan to perform in the game. So when you're practicing and you're scripting, Kylie, you should be getting him super excited the whole way, all the way through to the end. All the way through to the end. The whole call should be like you're on the phone with someone. And if I'm talking to you and you're like, well, I'm free Friday or Wednesday, I'm not real excited about that at all. So number one, you guys need to practice the script back and forth. Number two, it should be practice how you're going to perform on the phone. Number three, if you're not excited about this, your people are not going to be excited about this. Number four, some super little things that you missed in the script. You didn't say his name in number three. Psychologically, our favorite word in the entire English vocabulary is our name. We love to hear our name. So it's really like, even though it seems insignificant to miss their name, say their name. Say their name once, twice. If you can throw it in there 3 times, because it makes their brain and their insides happy. Number two, there was no waiting for him to respond after, hi, Andy, it's Kylie with Elite. The reason for the call is you need to go right back in there, because if you leave that breath, they could hang up, right? But if you're immediately going into saying something, I'm like, oh crap, I got to listen to what's going on next, right? So just that little pause. So these are little things that you guys don't realize you probably are doing. And that's why you're not getting to the next step. That's why you're making 100 expired calls and you're not getting any appointments, or you're not making any expired calls. And that's why you're not getting any appointments.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Because it's not in the script, but I wanted to ask you. So like, would you ever say like, hey, Andy, it's Kylie with Elite. How are you this afternoon?
No.
He doesn't.
We've had this conversation before.
No, because what if I'm awful? And then I get to start venting about why I'm awful. Like,
With me,
It gives them
when-
like a down talk on the conversation.
When somebody, I get 4 or 5 recruiting calls a day. If somebody calls up and says, hi, Justin, I'm from blah, blah, blah. How are you today? I'm immediately going, I'm fine. I'm not interested in switching today.
Yeah.
It gives that other person the opportunity
Okay,
to
so
tell
like,
you,
opt
no,
out.
I'm not
That's
talking
with
to you,
me.
I'm getting off.
I know
I'm busy.
100%
I'm busy.
you don't care how I am.
Yeah.
You honestly don't care how I'm doing today, do you? You don't know me. I'm a cold call. You really care how I'm doing? To me, that's like an insulting question. Like, you're a random freaking person calling me up, how am I doing? Why do you care? It upsets me. Like, to me, it's an irrelevant question.
Okay.
next thing is, though, the thing you did great was you kept going. Okay, when he said no, you weren't like, okay, I understand, goodbye. You're like, okay, tell me a little bit more. Well, what if I could solve that pain with an open house? That was a super great pivot. You guys have to be prepared to pivot into the next thing that's going to solve the next pain. Because I might have 6 pains of why I don't want to do it again, but I still did it once, so I will do it again, right? So keep pivoting to the next thing. Don't give up easy. Give them another great thing. A small thing you did at the end too was you didn't continue to force choice close. So you were like, I have Wednesday or Friday. And then you go, what time's good for you? Literally no time's good for me. My Google is full all the time. But if you tell me 2 or 4, I'm going to look at my calendar and make sure I am available at 2 or 4. If you just leave it open, I might say, yeah. And then I hang up and I look and I have something that day. And then I'm like, oh, I'll put it in my Google to cancel with you later. This actually happens.
Okay.
So you need to force choice close so that they will actually look at their calendar and say, oh, I do have something at 2, let me do 4. Or if I don't have 2 or 4, I'll say, okay, I have a 3:30 available, right? So seeing it through to the end and following that process really specifically, it may sound silly, but those little, like the devil's in the details, those little things can make all the difference. And I will tell you, I actually had this exact, like this script, this phone call, except we used to send out expired letters. And the lady called me to tell me she wasn't listing her house and wasn't selling. And I went through the same thing and she wanted to relocate down south and blah, blah. And like when we came to the end, she's like, no, I still don't want to list. And I did what you did. Okay, well, tell me why do we still not want to list if I can get it sold for you? And she's like, oh, a bunch of agents told me to wait till the spring. And so I was like, okay, went through like myth busting why you shouldn't wait till the spring, all the inventory. And she's like, well, you know, like Christmas is next week. And I'm like, okay, great. Let me put you on the calendar for January 3rd. And would that be doable? I'll come over and we'll just have a conversation about what this could look like to get you where you want to go. And she's like, yep, listed her, sold it, done. So like this legitimately works. And when you hear people telling these stories like Jamie overtaking a for sale by owner or me doing that. Like, remember that storytelling sells too. You can say like, yeah, I know it's super inconvenient. Like I had another client where they also had a 6-year-old. When I sold my house, like I know exactly how that works. Like be relatable to their vulnerability and give them a little story about how you helped another client solve this pain, or maybe another agent in the office helped them. Like we all sit and talk to each other and hear each other's stories. Use those stories to show and prove that you can get this job done for them, right?
Good.
Can I throw something in there too?
Yes.
One thing that I've learned is not to make this first call your listing presentation. Don't go through and give them, I do this for you, I do this for you, I do this for you, I do this for you. Make this, you want to hit all the points, but you also don't want to be on the phone for an hour and a half, and you don't want to try and sell them over the phone. That stuff's for in person. This is strictly for getting yourself in their front door. After that, now you're making your listing presentation, telling them why you're bad mamma jamma you are. This is not the time for it. It's going to make them feel uncomfortable and awkward, and the phone calls going to be way too long.
Yes, absolutely. Because everything, I know every phone call, right? Sell or be sold. Right? You're either going to sell me on why I need you, or I'm going to sell you on why I don't. Right? So if you start throwing a sales pitch at me over the phone on a cold call before I've even invited you into my home, I don't care how good you are. I've already made up my mind that I'm not buying. Right? So we want to get into their home, right? That's when we're going to build more rapport. Does anybody have any questions on this script or any scripting in general?
So what do you do when you like get through that very first sentence and they're already ready to like kill you? Because like I've done it and they like will start yelling. They're like, the agent to call me, I don't want to sell, like leave me alone, like whatever. Is there a way to put that back in there? Or those people are just like, okay, cool, yeah.
Hey, I understand a lot of people have called you. Would you be willing for a conversation if I was able to tell you how I can get them to stop calling?
Right?
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Once your home is no
Sign it.
longer expired and is back active on the market, they will not be calling you. I got your number through a database of expired listings, right? Once your listing goes back active, nobody's going to call you in because you're in contract with me. They can't call you because we're in contract, right?
Yeah. The other big thing is the only way I'm letting them off the phone is if they hang up on me.
Yes.
If they hang up on me, okay, well, yeah, I'm not going to call them back because they're going to hang up on me again.
I mean, there was literally a call I made and she started screaming, "Oh, you're the sixth person to call me."
Was it really?
Everything.
And then I found out that she's taking her class to be a realtor. I said, you know what? I would love to train you and help you. I got her number and said, look, once you get licensed, let's talk. So her hanging up on me in those first 3 seconds turned into a 5-minute conversation about how I can help her grow as a
Everything and anything is still possible if they're still on the phone.
yes.
If they're not, they hang up on you. Oh, then you got the point. But
And just like Trish said, right? Somebody called to say, I don't want to list my house. Obviously, part of you wants to list your house, right?
Why would you take the time?
Why would you take the time to call me, right?
Hey guys, it's Linda. I have a quick question. Sorry to interrupt about the first slide. About what if you've never listed before? Like you've never had a listing before. How do you approach the script and why they should list with you if you've never done it before?
Script still works. Script is good if you've done 0 listings or 500 listings, right? The goal of the script is to get in front of them so we can list their home, right? Once we find out their price and terms, it's up to us to see if that matches with reality, and then we can sign them, right? That's the good thing about it is that through these questions, through the way things are worded and routed, they're not going to ask, well, how many homes have you sold, right? That's not part of the pain or the pleasure. Right? I ask, what do you think your agent did good? What do you think they did bad? Right? There's nothing in there that's relevant to how many homes we've sold. Somebody's got to start somewhere. Right? So
right. And do you find that it doesn't go back usually to the why should I list with you?
No.
Or is it okay to start at this point?
No. So most of the time, like they're not going to ask, You know, the reason why should I list with you, right? That's going to come up, right, from people that are interviewing multiple agents, right? When they're interviewing multiple agents, it's going to be up to us to find those problems, right? We want to offer them a solution, right? Never is the solution, I sold 100 homes, right? I sold 100 homes. Okay, what does that have to do? That's great that you've sold 100 homes. What are you going to do for me, right?
Got it.
Sell my house so I can move to the subdivision across the street. What are you gonna do, right? I've lost clients with this before, well, one, but literally what I've said is, look, the home is gonna sell itself, right? It's up to me to market it, negotiate it, and make sure you get the price and terms that you want, right? Because that's literally what it's going to do. It's up to me to bring as many buyers through the home as possible to get you the highest offer and the best terms. That's what I've got to do. Right.
Okay, great. Thanks.
No problem. All right, cool. So we'll get started back into this. We kind of covered listings, why we want them, right? What we're going to do, what to say when we get them. Now this is going to go over where, right? So data, right? You should always be looking for listings. We've established that we would love listings right now more than we would love buyers. 20 years ago when I started in this, we wanted buyers more than we wanted listings. Right? It was listings were garbage. It was $30,000 homes. They were bank foreclosures. They were all, so we had buyers. Now we want listings, right? So we should always be looking for them. Where can we find these? HomeSnap, right? Vulcan, RedX, Driving for Dollars, right? So if nobody knows Vulcan, they are a database. They come with a dialer. They have information on for sale by owners, on expired listings. They update their data daily, right? So if you want to know what house is expired, go in there, click new data. It's going to give you names, phone numbers, addresses, and listing information of the expired house. So it's going to show that Shauna had a house in Plymouth that was on the market for 90 days for $400,000 and didn't sell, right? So I'm going to call her and be like, hey, Shauna, I noticed that your house was on the market and didn't sell. I'm going to go through that script with her. So we've got all that information right there. I will tell you, it's a pretty pricey system for a single agent. If you're to get it on your own, it's like $349 a month, I believe. $359, I don't know. Luckily for you guys, I have it. I can add an agent on for $99 a month.
Is that for HomeSnap?
That is for Vulcan.
Oh.
So if you're interested in Vulcan 7, you can Google it. You can check out their data, see if it's something that you would use or be interested in.
Are you going to be emailing the details out on that after this? Is that in the presentation?
All of these, yeah.
That'd be great. Thanks.
RedX, that's another version, right? Same thing. They offer a 3-line or single line dialer system. They offer expired listings for sale by owners. Their price, I think, is $119 a month. Basically the same data from what I'm seeing. Vulcan is newer and more up to date.
It's quicker too. It's quicker as far as getting that info
Yes.
into the system.
Yes, they are quicker, right? So there's one or two ways you can handle it, right? Some people call the new expires, like these are new, I'm calling them right now. Some people don't want to get yelled at, so they call the 30, 60, 90 day expires, right? So it all depends on if you don't mind getting yelled at or not. Because I will tell you, with this data, it's not secret. It's not just ours, right? There are mega teams out there that do have the billboards and do have teams of telemarketers with headsets in the office at 7:30 a.m. calling these people.
Blowing them up.
So by the time you guys get out of bed, log in and call them at 10 o'clock, that's when you get, you're the 8th person that called me today.
29. You're the 29th person.
29th is intense, right?
Probably true.
It probably is true, right? Driving for dollars. Nobody's familiar with that, right? Literally driving for dollars. Drive around an area, your subdivision, right? Whatever you see. There's tons of houses, even walking through the neighborhoods, right? If I see somebody with a work truck or something going on in their garage, right? I'm like, oh, they're doing something. They're installing new floors. Oh, they're doing new roof. They're painting the exterior of their home. Maybe they're getting ready to sell. I write down that address. I then mail them, right? You guys want, you can knock on a door and talk to them. I'm not that risky. You know, if you're driving around and see a for sale by owner, if it's in the summer and the grass is long, obviously this house is vacant, nobody's taking care of it, right? Maybe I should write this address down and track down the owner, right? So these are ways that, you know, back when gas was like 99 cents a gallon, it was basically a no-cost way of getting leads. Now, make it pretty expensive, but same thing, if you're in an area, right, if you walk, run, bike your neighborhood, right, keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. I like notoriously kicking myself because I find them so easily, right? When I used to live in Plymouth, we would ride through Lake Point all the time to go to the park and stuff, and I'm like, oh, dude, they're gonna sell. I would literally take a photo or write down the address, right, but yeah, 2 weeks later, there's a for sale sign in the yard. I'm like, I knew they were gonna sell, but I never reached out to them, right? So not only make sure you're doing it, but follow up on it. I've got like in the notes section of my phone, there's literally so many addresses that I've written down. Like, oh, that's gonna go for sale, that's gonna go for sale. Make sure you mail them, contact them, right? Let them know who you are and what you do. Otherwise, why am I randomly gonna call Jamie and ask you to sell my house? I don't know who you are. I don't know that you want to sell my house. So let me know. If I'm thinking about selling, right, let me know. For sale by owners, that's the same thing, right? Driving around, people have for sale by owner signs. Write down their number, write down their address, call them, talk to them. Social media, same thing, ask social media. Alexis gets a ton of social media leads because she's consistently posting. Like it's, and they're good posts too. Nothing's really blatantly asking or interrupting. It's literally like it's a part of her life, right? Like some people post going to the gym, or some people post going to the bar, some people post their dog. Literally her posts are real estate. I wouldn't know that she did anything else in her life besides helping people buy or sell houses and maybe go to a lake every now and then, right? But she gets so much business and referrals from that because now that's became part of her personality. So her sphere of influence, those people on her friends list now think, when they think real estate, they think of Alexis, right? Some people, if they think shots of Jack Daniels, right, they might think Bob or Justin. Okay, I didn't want to say it.
I'm not ashamed.
Right, so if some people think, you know, running through the rain for no reason with a weight vest. I'm like, no, it's something Trish would probably do. So people kind of get that idea. So someone's like, oh yeah, I want to get fit. I want to say that, oh, well, maybe you should talk to Trish. She works out all the time, right? I need a good gym to go to. Oh, so everyone kind of has their things, right? You don't want to be the agent on social media that is like constantly asking for somebody or doing something. Right, you saw this a lot months ago or years ago when everybody was selling LuLaRoe or Thrive or those crazy wraps for you buy, right? Everybody became a stay-at-home salesman. So you no longer were Josephine that had the cute dog posting pictures all the time. You were Josephine, hey, who wants to thrive with me? Right? I no longer want to see that. I want to know the rest of your life. I want to see what you're eating for dinner. I want to see what your dog did today, right? That's why we became friends in the first place, was from that content. Right, so don't lose that content in order to push for business.
Add the business content.
Yeah. Add the business content to it, absolutely, right? And always see what you can do, right? There's a book by Gary Vee, it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook, right? So it's, you don't go in with the right hook from the beginning, right? So you want to give, and then ask, right?
Okay.
I feel more obligated. I feel more obligated to help you out because you've given me so much resources already, right? I feel obligated now that I owe you something, even though I don't, right? There's tons of creators out there, internet guys that give away free content all the time. And then when they say, hey, I'm selling a book, I'm like, oh, dude, I should buy that guy's book. I should pay the $10 for his book because I've gotten so much value from his free 30-second Instagram reels that I feel like I owe him at least $10 for how much he helped me. Right? So give, and then ask. So all these tools that we named, right, they can be used to find expireds, pre-foreclosures, for sale by owners, absentee owners, right? What an absentee owner is, that is somebody that has a different taxpayer address than the home address, right? Meaning that that's more than likely a rental property, maybe it was inherited, somehow they're on the deed, but they don't occupy that home. They could be out of state, right? So there's ways you can pull those lists. Geo farms, the other thing about Vulcan 7, if you just listed, just sold, or even you're looking for a listing in the neighborhood, you can select that on the map. So I need a buyer that wants a house north of 5, west of Merriman. I can select that subdivision on the map. It's going to give me all the names and addresses and phone numbers of the homeowners in that sub. So now I can call them and say, hey, Justin, it's Andy with Elite. I've got a pre-approved buyer trying to spend $400,000 on a 3-bedroom house in your neighborhood. Does this sound like something you have? So you can contact me. Same thing, I just sold, right? I just sold the house for $40,000 over list price, the highest sale in the subdivision. Who do you know that I could help out, right? So it's your way of telling people what you do and what you want, right? Like I said, we want to get out of obscurity and let as many people know what we do. These are the ways to do it. There's one more trick, I gotta change around slides.
Yeah. Thank you.
Who else can do this?
Yeah.
No? Ah, no. Okay.
It's okay.
All right, so next, leads and luck, right? Who's getting leads, who's getting lucky? The reason I'm talking about this is because there's really 2 ways that people get business, right? Some of them go out and hunt for leads and go out and find them. Some of us get lucky. Some of us, it's maybe a combination of both, right? What I mean by luck is a family or friend that decided to list with you, right? Maybe an old client that calls you back up and says, hey, are you still in real estate? I'm thinking of selling my house. Right? That's going to be the luck part of it. Right? I'd say all of us have some sort of luck in our business. If we've been in 1, 3, 5 years, we get those lucky deals that fall into our lap. We might call them referrals, right? We might call them follow-up. We might call it chance, but for the most part, it's luck, right? I was lucky enough that when Justin told Danny that I'm a realtor, Danny was like, oh, perfect. I'm looking to sell. I'll give him a call. Right? So that's the luck part of it. The leads part of it, we've got to be working. We've got to be gathering. Right, so here's a little difference in things, right? So leads, where do you get your leads from? Floor time, database, prospecting, and branding. Okay, floor time leads that come in, right? Those are leads that come in. There's somebody that's interested in buying or selling a home. You know their name, you know their number, you know their info. Database, leads should come from your database. If we're not building our database, we're going to have a shortage of leads. We want to be constantly adding to our database, whether it's a now buyer, nurture buyer, or even somebody that may be able to speak for us sometime in the future, right? If it's a carpenter, if it's a painter, if it's a car salesman, right? Who can I know, like, and trust that I refer my business to in hopes that they would reciprocate that back to me? Always be building that database. And branding, right? Prospecting and branding. Prospecting, right? That's when we're out looking for business, right? Branding is when we're telling people who we are and what we do, right? We should constantly be doing all of these things to add to our business. The luck side of things is floor time again, right? Because you might get lucky on floor time. Literally, you might get 5 calls, none of them are pre-approved. You might get no calls. You might have somebody walk in from Senate and want to list their house with you. That happened to me like 3 times. Literally, I was the only one. Friends and family, right? They're going to bring you luck, right? Because they're always talking about what a good realtor you are. They're willing to go to bat for you. Referrals, right? Referrals are somebody that will refer you. Like I said, building your database, right? Somebody that's going to refer you, give your name and number out. Also, in handling referrals, I always say immediately send a handwritten thank you card and sometimes a gift card or a token of appreciation to that person who referred you, regardless of if they close or not. Immediately, so Justin knows, dude, every time I give Andy's number to somebody, I get a $25 Amazon card.
Amazon will do it where they put your business card on the gift card.
Oh, that's fire. I didn't know that.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so make sure you do that right away. Not wait till it closes, not wait to see if they're pre-approved. Literally, because the more times you throw my name and number out, the better chance I have of getting somebody good. Right? And I'll tell you right now, in this industry, $25 a lead is dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. You go to Realtor.com, you're paying $80 to $150 a lead. You go to Zillow, you're almost $300. Right? So if I gotta send out a $25 gift card to somebody for a lead all day, I will take that back. Past clients, that's a huge thing, guys. Stay in contact with your past clients. Ask them.
Those are your best referrals.
Those are the best referrals, right? What better way to prove you know how to do something than already doing it? Right? Absolutely. So we want to be contacting those past clients. And like I said, it doesn't always have to be blatantly to ask for a referral, but just to stay in front of them, right? Especially if you guys have been in the business for a while. The market's changed huge in the last 5 years, right? If you sold a house 5 years ago, I guarantee you they probably got 40 to 50% of equity in that house just from living in it, right? So keep that in mind when reaching out to those past clients. Even if you're new in the business and you've closed 1 or 2 in this last year, reach out to them. Hey, I just sold you 3 months ago. How's the house? Did you get moved in? Is it comfortable? Right? If you want to be paying for leads, right? They're a huge referral source. Where do they move to? Oh, they moved to Plymouth, right? Cool. I'm going to go to Herman's. I'm going to mail them a $25 gift card. Hey, hope you're settled into your house right now. Go out and enjoy dinner on me, right? Stay in front of them. They're going to love that. Odds are they're going to call you and thank you, or they're going to post on their social media, or they're going to think of it when they're out. Like, oh, wow, how cool is that, right? So stay in front of them, right? $20-25 can go a long way investing into your business.
Social media works good, staying in front of them.
Yes.
Just commenting on a post or
Yes.
something
Yes.
like that, keeping your name.
Yeah.
Because like I have people that weren't friends before that were past clients that are now friends on social media that, you know, I make a comment on one of their posts and all of a sudden they're like, hey, oh yeah, guess what?
Yes.
My friend's doing this. My friend needs help with this. It's like something as simple as, wow, that looks so cool. On a post is like all of a sudden now you get a referral from it. So social media is a great way for keeping up with past clients. I don't use it a lot for bringing in new, but keeping up with past and getting referrals, that's kind of like to me what it was meant for.
But also it helps you see what's going on in their life. So like they just had a new baby, so now you have another opportunity to send them a card,
Absolutely.
congratulations, or here's a pet supply plus card for your new dog or something like that too.
Like that new pup.
Yeah. So keep in mind, do that. Like I said, use it for giving, right? Use your social media for giving. You don't always want to be taking, right? So it's great if you create content and push it out there, but you also want to interact with other people, right? Tell them that, wow, that new shirt looks nice. Or wow, congratulations, you got a boat. When do I get to go on it? Right? Keep in contact with them. So we're going to go around, we're going to ask, right? How much of your business you think is from leads and how much is from luck?
100%.
100% luck. We've got 100% luck over here.
Make that too.
I would say.
Three, okay.
Maybe not 100, but.
All right.
100%.
100% luck. We got a lot of lucky people in here.
I haven't taken a lead in years.
I've never taken
We're living off a
I
lot.
think even just getting a lead turned over is luck, so,
Okay.
I mean, Don was a follow-up person. I just happened to get it, so. To me,
Yeah.
that's luck.
Right. The
Especially
follow-up
when
boss
I
lead
know
that's
it's-
brought you like 2 million in business in the last 2 months.
Yes.
All right. So luck. Who in here thinks that their business is more off of leads? Really? We got a lead? All right. So we're in there. We're about a 50-50, that's right. All right. Now, could you double or even triple your business if you focused on generating leads?
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Right?
Everybody should be saying yes.
Right? So if we focus on generating leads, could we double or triple? Right? This is really hard with Trish here. Here's an idea of what your schedule is going to look like when you're living on luck. Right? If I ask you guys to pull out your calendars right now, right, and show me your schedules, right?
Did you get that from
Right? Whose schedule is similar to this? What do I got on my schedule? Eat, Netflix. Oh, I'm gonna do emails tomorrow. I feel like working. I'm feeling it. I'm gonna take a nap. That took a lot out of me, right? After that hard day of checking emails, I need a rest day after that. Right? I need a rest day. I'm out. But you know what? After that rest day, I'm feeling rejuvenated. I'm online. I'm playing with the MLS, right? Scrolling through these pictures. I'm alive. I'm going into the office today. I'm gonna kill it. And then I need another rest day because that hour in the office took a lot out of me. It's just more than I need. So I'm gonna do a rest day.
How do I feel attacked?
Right. Tomorrow, I'm working tomorrow. I'm gonna show a house to one of my friends tomorrow. So I'm working. We're gonna hang out afterwards, but I still did some work. So that's good. I got it, right? Sunday, something came up and my whole day's ruined. So
Probably the hangover from showing your friend the house.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, something came up, my day's ruined. Right? So if you're living off of luck, right, odds are your schedule looks pretty similar to that. Right? And it's enough to get by. I guarantee you can make probably 60, 70 grand a year living off of luck. Absolutely, it's possible in this business.
I did 1099s, and I'm gonna tell you, you're probably making 17 grand living.
Yeah, I
on
was gonna
luck.
say, I would
Yeah,
agree.
it's not-
I don't
it's
think
not-
Luck's gonna get that.
All right, so half of that. We're gonna make
Luck does
like,
that.
That's how I
We
get it.
didn't want to be real to ourselves. I just did everybody's 1099s, and the living on lucks are really more like 17 to 35.
All right.
Schedule too.
So 17 to 35 living on luck. Right? Now, what do you think it would look like if we were living on leads, right? So we just said we could probably double or triple our business living on luck or living off of leads and generating leads. So if we're making $30,000 living on luck, we're gonna become six-figure earners if we start generating leads. Who thinks they've got an idea of what somebody living on leads schedule looks like? You think it's similar to this one?
No.
No, let's see.
It
I
probably
bet we
looks
got
like,
it.
if you color code it, it looks like a circus having a seat.
I bet we got something on the next slide. Let's see.
All right, this is what your life looks like, even though
There it is.
podcast doesn't want it.
There it is.
Where's the Netflix?
Right? Not much Netflix and napping on this one, right? But we do have weekend recaps, right? Hour of expired calls, sending follow-up texts, emails, right? Follow-up calls. We're doing role plays and scripting.
Everybody should be snapping a picture of this because everybody says, I don't know what to do. I don't have a schedule. I need to go back to the basics. Here you go, guys.
Updating our current files, right? 411 meeting, that's on the schedule, right? I say it time and time again, there should be no reason that, you know, the top earners in this office making the most money are the only ones that show up to this meeting. I don't need anyone to teach me how to make more money, right? I don't need anybody to teach me how to write down my goals and achieve them, right? I've been consistently doing that for the last 5 years, right? So it's super important to keep track of this accountability, right? Showings and appointments, right? We want to scrub our database. So like I said, we're always building our database. We've got to make sure what's good and what's bad. We don't want our database sucking our time, right? I don't want to be making 300 calls to 290 people that want nothing to do with me. I'd rather have a database of 30 people where 20 of them are going to do business with me. Calling old leads, creating social media content, setting appointments, right? Past follow-up, current follow-up, market for future business, right? These are all things we should be consistently doing. These are things we have to touch on every single day. So if right now on your schedule, you don't have an hour allotted to look for future business, you're doing it wrong. If there's not an hour in your week somewhere where you want to follow up on past business, you're doing it wrong. If you don't have an hour allotted in one of your days where you're going to follow up with your current business, you're doing it wrong. Right? And this is 1 hour, guys. 1 hour. If the 1 hour doesn't work, turn it into 3 hours. Right? If 3 hours doesn't work, turn it into 5 hours. These are the keys to success that are going to get you to where you want to go. Literally 1 hour. Schedule it out. Right? It shouldn't be something that's done on a whim. Right? That after Netflix and eating, then I'm going to go in on Tuesday. No, you should have it in there as a repeating task. Every Tuesday between 9 and 10, I follow up with my current business. Every Friday between 4 and 5, I prospect for future business. You guys don't have these things marked in your calendars and on your schedules. They do not exist. And I will tell you, if your schedule in this business doesn't exist, You are being more reactive than proactive. You do not want to live in a reactive business where you're being ran by your emails, your texts, and your clients. You don't want that business. You don't want to be the realtor that's running around frazzled all the time and late for showings, and I forgot to do this. Get it in your schedules, right? You should be looking at your schedules the day before as well, so you already know what your week looks like. Otherwise, you're going to come into the office and what's your week going to look like? Whatever your email tells you it looks like, whatever your client tells you it looks like. That's not how you want to run a business, right? If you want to scale your business, if you want to build systems into creating multiple streams and never having those up and down months, you've got to follow that schedule. Otherwise, you're going to do great in May, in June. Some of you guys are going to make 10, 15, 20 grand in that month. We're not going to make anything next month. And then you're like, oh shit, I ran out of money. Hold on, let me do all this stuff again. Right? And then you're going to have a $6,000 month. Then you're going to have 2 months with nothing. And then you're going to do it all over again. Right? You don't want to live like that. You don't have to live like that. I tell people all the time, it's okay to have consistent good months in real estate. You don't have to always have a roller coaster of, oh, all my clients have so many people in your pipeline that it doesn't fucking matter if you lose 2 deals. Bottom line, have that pipeline so full that you don't even lose sleep if one of your clients walk off after their inspection, right? Keep it going, right? Build that database, build that pipeline. Keep this stuff in your schedule, right? On Sundays, we're reviewing and prepping for the week, right? We're always working a day in advance. Otherwise, your day is going to run you. And if your day runs you, you're full of busyness and not productivity.
So when I go to 411, my schedule looks like this. When I miss 411, my schedule looks like the first slide.
Preach.
So really, like, if anything on this, if you can just start by getting the 411, that sets your whole week up. Because I know when I'm slacking on 411, whether I'm having my week of the month where I'm just like, goodbye world or whatever, and then I just don't go the next week because I didn't go the last week. And then now I'm 3 weeks without 411 and I'm just like, shit. So get to 411 and you will literally get all these other things filled in your schedule when you get to 411. And if you can't come in, Zoom in. If I didn't do my 411 and I just Zoom in, I'm writing shit down. I'm like, all right, let me do this. Let me make sure, let me get back at least a couple of these things so my schedule doesn't look like the first one, because it's real easy for me to have that first schedule because I am a roller coaster. I have this business and another one, and I'll have $10,000, $20,000 months. And then I'm like, I'm not doing shit for 2 months now because I can, and I'm starting to really be like, I can't be doing this anymore because it's not, you know, you make that big check and then you spend it and then you're like, shit, now I have to go and like hustle harder than I should if I just stayed somewhat consistent during the week. So I'm like, I think he like thought of me when he
If you feel like I thought of you,
I may have.
Well, here's the thing, right? There's 32 things on there. Raise your
Everybody
hand
in
if you
here.
do all 32 of these things. Anybody in here do all 32 of these things? This is a 32-hour work week. Anybody
Whoa.
else know another job you can work 32 hours and make 6 figures? There's over 7 agents in this office who got 1099 for over 6 figures last year.
I'm next.
Okay? So if you didn't this year, know, number one, that it's possible. People in our office are doing it consistently. Number two, here's 32 ways you can do it. Number three, it doesn't even take a lot of time. We put these limiting beliefs on ourselves that I don't have time. Y'all, if I can do it, every single person in this office can. At different points in my life, I had 5, 6, 7 kids at home and still was able to do it. So I don't want to hear anybody's excuses that you're too busy, you don't have time, you have this, that, and the other. Those are all your reasons are valid. I'm not saying your reasons are valid or your feelings aren't valid, but you get to decide if that holds you back from what you want. And if you let it hold you back from what you want, then you probably don't actually want that thing and you need to reevaluate. Okay. If you cannot be successful by following this schedule, what happens is you go to XYZ Realty and then you quit there and you go to XYZX Realty and you quit there and then you end up door dashing or waitressing or bartending. So if you want to go back to waitressing, bartending, or door dashing, then don't follow the schedule. If you want to be successful at real estate, take a picture and follow the 32 hours. 32 hours is not a lot of hours. Everybody can find 32 hours in a week.
And literally the reason we say this is because Trish was bartending and waitressing. I was delivering pizzas.
For
That
sure.
was my job. Like literally cleaning up construction sites and delivering pizzas was my career because I had barely a high school education.
Y'all know US 12 on Michigan Ave, I worked there. That's where I worked. And then after I quit there, I went to Stockdale's 2 doors down, which was even worse than US 12.
Cocktails,
Oh, yeah.
Times are tough.
I mean, I was in college at the time, so I had an excuse. I wasn't even in college. I was of college age, so.
So can I say one thing? So like when I make lists to do things like this, and I sit there and look at the list, it can get overwhelming because you're like, how do I do all this stuff? But then when I just do it, it literally takes me like 1/10 of the time
Yeah.
to do it. So it's like actually getting mentally prepared to do it is like more scary. But once you just start doing it, you're like, oh, that took me 2 hours when I thought it was gonna take 10 hours. But like social media, like that could take 5 minutes, you know? So
None of these days have more than 5 things on it. Everybody can do 5 things.
Nothing is going to be that hard, right? And with these things, make sure you're clear of your intent behind them. Because if you're coming to 411 just because Andy said you should come to 411, it's going to be useless to you. It's not going to be beneficial. If you're coming to 411 because you want to talk about your dreams and be held accountable for what you did or didn't do last week, then come to it, right? If you're coming to it just because Andy and Trish said we should, don't even bother. Don't waste your time. Don't waste our time, right? All of these things, right? If your intent behind it is not clear, don't even bother with it. Because you're not going to end up anywhere. You're going to sit there and be, oh, well, calling these leads sucked. I called for an hour and nobody answered. Okay, if your intent is to call leads until you get a new client, that's when you call the leads, right? If your intent is, oh, well, Andy said I should follow this schedule and you're doing it for me, it's not going to fucking benefit you at all. Not one bit, right? So make sure you're doing these things for yourself. And if it's not what you want, say it's not what you want. There are no wrong answers. If you don't want to be a 6-figure earner, don't be one, right? But don't try and pretend and tell us or tell yourself that that's what you want to be, because your actions are not lining up with the goals that you're telling us or yourself. If you want to be a $17,000 a year agent and work 4 hours a week, amazing. I can write you a schedule for that, right? Let us know what you really want. There are no wrong answers here, right? Just make sure you're clear on your intent of where you want to be. Otherwise, there's no point in lying to yourselves or to the others around you, right? I can say this year, I've lied to myself. I have not pulled nearly what I should have. I have not followed the schedule even remotely close to what I should have. I spent the last 2 years just living off of luck, right? My network grew, so my net worth grew, right? I met better friends who had more money, who bought bigger houses, right? So I didn't have to work that much. My past clients didn't become that important. Prospecting for new business wasn't that important because I got a guy looking at $1 million house, right? Oh, his sister's going to buy a $500,000 house from me. Oh, they're going to list their 7. So all of these things became less important to me because I thought my luck was just fine. Come to find out it's running out. Come to find out everybody has bought and sold with my sphere right now. Like there's not, most of my people, they bought and sold because they wanted to, not because they had to. I've got a big house. I just want a bigger one, right? I've got a lake house. I just want another one. Nobody was in a position where they had to move. So in this market, they're not beating down my door like, hey, Andy, find me another overpriced house. Hey, Andy, you got anything I can pay $60,000 more for right now? Nobody's in a big hurry to move if they don't have to, right? There's not too many people that want to move right now, right? A lot of people have to. We outgrew our home, right? Our home is too big. Now we're empty nesters. We need something smaller. We want to downsize, right? My database will fill with people that wanted to, not that had to. Now when people that are moving have to move, I'm tapped out. So I've got to do these things, right? In order to grow my business. Otherwise, I might as well stay home watching Netflix.
I think the biggest part too is to get rid of your limiting beliefs. Like we all put our own limiting beliefs. And I've even heard them throughout this meeting. Like you said something about, well, expireds, they probably didn't close because the seller XYZ. Guess what? There's lots of crappy agents. It probably didn't close because they had a crappy agent who also was a bartender, a barber, and a door dasher. And so they didn't do any work to price it right, get the right people in there, give the feedback, yada, yada, yada. So we can't think, I'm not going to call an expired calls because all of those are sellers that don't actually want to sell and are pricing ridiculously, right? There's other reasons why things went expired. There's tons of stuff that is expired because of all of those reasons. The market's saturated with bad agents.
And
Right?
there's ways you can price them right.
Right, absolutely. And I'm going to go through that. And then when I hear all the time, well, I got this list of old leads. Guess what? Those old leads are money. When those people came through realtor.com 90 days ago, they got bombarded with people and they weren't ready yet. Now they're ready. They need to move. School is almost over. Kids are going to get out. We need to go places. Or, oh my gosh, the market's so crazy. There's no inventory. What did I just say? I can put you in a house twice as big for less of a payment and fill it with new stuff. Would that be beneficial? Yeah. Hello. So it's our job to make it a no-brainer. But if we have limiting beliefs on ourselves and on the market and on the other people, we're not selling anything. Like if we don't believe it, we can't sell it to somebody else, right? That's like me saying, oh, I want everybody to buy my BMWs, but I don't drive a BMW because they're overpriced pieces of junk. Well, then I can't sell BMWs to people, right? Because if I don't believe it, how could I ever sell that to other people? I already have limiting beliefs in my mind. It's the same with calling expireds or calling old leads. That's why you don't do it. The reason why you don't do things is you have something in your mind that tells you this is not a good value for my time. So you need to be able to pick what are you going to focus on and go to work on that and believe that that's going to work. That's how it works. There is no, if you guys came here today for a super secret, real estate secret, there aren't any. Every realtor in the whole wide world, all million of us, we all use Vulcan, we all use the RedX, we all use the Mojo dialer, we're all calling the same expired, we're all calling the same for sale by owners. The difference is are you getting paid bonuses for how many appointments you set for another agent? Yes. Well, guess what? You're the agent. You get all that commission, right? So start changing that mindset and you change your outcomes.
Yes.
Anything else on this one?
That's it. Does anybody have any questions on this? Right. Basically, we want to have our schedule filled with money-making activities, right? Things that are going to help our business, right? And after that, we want to trust the process. Because all of these things, you're not going to see the results tomorrow, right? You might have one full day of calls where they all suck, right? You might have a whole week with nothing, right? The things that we do today, they're going to show 30 to 60 days from now, right? Just like with anything, right? If every time I walk back there, I take a bite of a cupcake, I'm not going to see any results immediately. But in 30 to 60 days, I'm probably going to gain 5 pounds, right? If I go to the gym today and spend 5 hours in there, I'm not going to leave with abs. If I do that every day consistently for 30, 60, 90, then I might start seeing results, right? I'm not going to see them right away. Same thing with this business. There are times where we will get luck. In that first phone call, maybe someone at the right time would say, hey, yeah, let's go. I'll list my house. Be here at 5. But more times than not, it's going to be a long game. It's going to be something that we need to be consistent with. Right? And we need to realize that even on the days that we don't see the results, right, that we're still planting those seeds.
All right, so let's look at this sheet real quick. Pull up this sheet. I gave you guys these resources. Remember how I just said there's no secret sauce to real estate? These resources and tools will make it much easier, all right? So you need to decide who are you going to capture. Andy's talked about expired. He's talked about for sale by owners. You can also capture divorce, death, bankruptcy, notice of default, empty nesters, for lease by owners, for sale by owners. What else is on Regal Gateway? Estate sales, those are deaths. What else do we get?
Really any bankruptcy,
Bankruptcy.
any kind of public record.
All right, so all of these things have public records that get filed for them. All right, if I'm going to go bankrupt, I get a public record that gets filed with the county. The county then releases those to the public. That is public knowledge. Divorce, same thing. That is public knowledge. Somebody is deceased. That is public knowledge. Now, sometimes people are like, oh, those are ambulance chasers, agents who go after those deals. Well, not so much, because those are the people that need agents, right? And what happens if somebody passes away, their family in Texas probably gets their estate and has no idea what to do with this house in Michigan, right? So if you decide, all right, I am going to be proactive, I'm not going to use luck, I want to have an actual process, I want to get more listings, you can utilize, we start at the top, dialers, farming, and lead gen, Vulcan, the RedX, or Revo Gateway, okay? All of these tools will give you access to those clients. Revo Gateway, I think you might have even talked about it earlier. I can say, I want to own my neighborhood, right? Knightsbridge Gate in Novi. And I will drop little pins around my sub in Revo Gateway. And then I will click the button and it will give me all the information on everybody who's getting divorced, deceased, empty nesters, for sale by owners, expired, all those people. Why do we want those? Because those are the most likely people that are going to need a realtor in the next year. So you can go deep instead of just going wide and doing a whole sub, right? I would rather go deep on 20 people and call them, door knock them, door hanger them, postcard them, you know, drop a pie by, whatever the case may be, on 20 people than just drop a mailer to a whole sub. When I get mailers, I toss them all in the trash because I am a realtor and I have none of these things filed. So it is absolutely pointless to send me postcards, right? However, if I go and I file for divorce and I know that my attorney is going to need a value for my house, then I'm going to need a realtor, right? So it is better for you to use one of these three tools to be dialing and calling and going deep on the right people than to just trust luck and go wide on a subdivision. It is better for your dollars. It is better for your time. It is better for your results. Okay. So use the tools, use the resources. And you have to go deep, guys. When you are a person who has gone expired or who is experiencing a divorce or who has somebody that has become deceased in your family, you are busy, you are stressed, you are emotional, right? So you might call me 17 times and I'm too distraught to deal with that. But when you get me on the 20th time, 2 months later, I'm ready. I'm ready to have this conversation, right? So follow-up is going to be crucial. So I gave you guys some follow-up stuff, right? So content, all right? You can create content. We did not get degrees in marketing. We did not get degrees in graphic design. So I gave you places that will do this stuff for you. Fiverr is an amazing tool. Pay somebody $5.25 and send them your logo and your headshot, and they will make you beautiful flyers and beautiful postcards and beautiful door hangers. So you don't sit there for 6 hours banging your head against the wall because you can't get your headshot cropped correctly, or you can't make really pretty nice flyers, right? Hire these things out to professionals. There are tons and tons of people on Fiverr that will create massive amounts of social media content for you, that will create mailers. You see my mailer right there? How it feels to work with Trisha Dork and Elite Realty. I took and went on Facebook and Google and copy and pasted all of my reviews, all of the general reviews about Elite Realty, slapped them on a Word doc, sent them to Fiverr, was like, here's my headshot, here's my logo, here is a white piece of paper with all of these, make me something beautiful. And they sent me back that in one day. And now I can put that in all of my listing presentations. So it's not me sitting there at the table saying, I'm really awesome. They can sit there and read all of the people and how it felt to work with us. We all have great reviews on Google and Facebook. And if you don't personally, there's plenty that say, this is how it feels to work with Elite Realty. I felt like I was their only client. I felt like they went above and beyond every time. I felt like no question was a dumb question to ask, right? So storytelling sells. All good salespeople use storytelling, whether it be in print, whether it be in Word while we're talking. Explain and share what other people felt. Let them see what other people felt. Take this content and put it on your social media, put it on your inserts, put it on your mailers, and that's what you want to be sending out. So utilize these tools, all right? Breakthrough Brokers, completely free. That's where all of those posters come from. Fiverr, everything's super cheap, $5, $2, $7 to get something nice. Canva will design a lot of stuff for you. InShot, when you guys do videos, number one, you should be doing videos, period. No matter if it's a video text you're sending to clients, if it's on Instagram, if it's on Facebook, if it's on TikTok, here's something you need to know. If you make your videos on TikTok and then you put them on Instagram, Instagram does not give it any love because they are owned by different people. So you want to make your video an InShot and then use that video in TikTok, in Instagram, and in Facebook because the algorithm will say, cool, this isn't somebody else's video. I am not promoting TikTok when I am Instagram, right? So create all your videos in InShot and then use that video in your TikTok, in your Instagram Reel, and in your Facebook. That way the algorithm accepts it and you get more viewers on your things. Yes.
And what's cool about InShot is that you can go on, like, I made one, but I needed the James Bond song. And so I went on TikTok, found a video that had the James Bond song, downloaded it, and extracted the audio from that and put it over my video in InShot and put it on. It's so I'm technologically retarded. It was so easy to do.
That's beautiful. Yep, super
Good
easy.
stuff.
InShot is super easy. It'll put text, it'll use all of the different sounds, all of that, super easy, and then it's accepted by all of the algorithms. Same with when you're on Facebook and Instagram. If you are just resharing other people's content, the algorithm doesn't want anything to do with that, okay? So if you see I post, congratulations, Stacy and John, on your closing, you need to save that picture as your own. Just grab a little piece off of it so it's a new meta tag in the back end, and then repost it and type in congratulations, Stacy and John, because all of these little teeny tiny details are in the algorithm of these social media platforms. So they know if you just reshare stuff, they're not putting that back out there. That's not your own content. They know if you actually take time in the text box or not. So you need to take the time to actually type in your own stuff. And the longer you actually spend in the text box, the more the algorithm accepts that because they know you actually took time. So it's weird because social media is technology, but it also is kind of like a popularity contest in high school. They want to know that like you're loving on them, right? So utilize InShot for your videos. Loomly is a platform where you can link all your social media platforms in there and load your content, and Loomly will post for you. So if you are someone who is just handicapped by time and fear and not wanting to deal with stuff, you can load Loomly and Loomly will post for you. I will tell you the algorithms don't like that as much as if you post yourself, but if nothing else, do that, okay? If you just cannot find the time to post daily, load a Loomly account and let it post for you. And then you just take 1 hour per month to load it and let it go, okay? Etsy, you can buy stuff. I give you 2 things for postcards, 3 things for follow-up, and you guys can see the rest. So utilize these things, utilize these resources. And let's move on. Okay, so. Oh, you had one more slide. Okay, go ahead.
Just trying to tickle
Yes.
your show.
Right. So one more after all of my talking, right? I just want to leave with a couple key points, right? Some things that we should focus on. So hopefully, if you guys got anything from the last hour or so we've been here, right? 1, create and follow a schedule. It's going to be super helpful, right? We compared the schedules from luck to listings and then leads and leverage. Create and follow it, right? Setting goals and hitting targets. You don't know if you're falling short if you don't know where you're supposed to go, right? So that's the next thing. You could be doing good, you could be doing great, you could be doing awful. Constant audits of yourself. Build your database, right?
Sorry. There was a message in the chat.
Right, so that means when you're making that schedule, put on there, work on building my database, right? Meet people. A lot of people hand out business cards, right? That's great, but when I hand you my information, I have no control over if you're ever going to call me or think of me again. If I ask for your number or your email, I now control when I can contact you. I know that I can get in front of you again because I've got your name, your number, and your email. If I give you my card, you can throw it away. If I take your information, you can't throw it away. You can change your number, you can move, you can get a restraining order like that one guy did, but that's like minor things. Follow up and lead generation. If you guys don't want those up and down roller coaster months, stay consistent with these things. You want to be following up as much as you're generating new leads. Prospecting, appointment setting. Always be setting appointments, guys. When you're making this calendar and this schedule, your schedule should be filled with appointments. If you're falling short on appointments, right, that's part of the sales process. It all starts with the appointment. Whether it's appointment here, at their house, or at a house, right, or at a Starbucks, set that appointment. Get in front of them. I can't sell you a house without getting in front of them, right? So you want appointments on your schedules. Prospecting to your clients. Showings. You want showings on that schedule as well, right? Because that's great. I set the appointment with you. I know that you want to buy a house. Now I got to show you, right? And then after we're showing, we got to get you to write an offer. After you write the offer, I gotta get it accepted. So these are all things that we wanna be focused on and making sure that our weeks are filled with these things. We shouldn't have any week where we have no appointments or no showings or no offer right, because we know then that's gonna be a bad following week. Every week, we should be checking off some of these boxes. So set targets for yourself and make sure that you're hitting them. That will conclude my segment.
All right, so Andy told you what you have to do to get people to say yes to you, right? So you got the yes, right? They said yes to the address, right?
Yes.
They said yes to giving you their address. So now what? Now what do you got to do, right? So the first question you should ask before you go to a house, do not go to a listing appointment without knowing this question, right? When you're finishing up a talk with whoever you're going to meet, you're going to ask like, hey, so just before I let you go, while I'm doing some homework, I just wondered, do you have a price in mind? Okay. Did you have a price in mind? Now, if it's an expired, they probably had a price that they had it listed at before. So you could say something like, hey, I see that you had it listed at 250,000. Just curious, was that your bottom line price? Is that still the same price you were thinking about? You need to know what their price is in their mind, so that you know you're going in this on the defensive mode, right? Like, dang, they want 550. There ain't nothing that sold over 580. Or you're going in there with like, woohoo, I know you only wanted 480, but I can get you 550, right? So you kind of know the tone ahead of time with how you're going in and how you're preparing your information. And then I want to ask why that price. I'm just curious. So you said 550. Is that something like, did you see on Zillow? You had some neighbors that sold? Is that like a bottom line need to be able for this to make sense for your next purchase? Kind of just give me a little idea why you were thinking about that, right? That's important because, like, for example, I had one where I went and they're like, oh yeah, you know, our friend sold down the road for this, and this. I found out down the road was 7 miles down the road. Okay. So that is not accurate for us. That is a whole nother county actually where this one was at. Are you interviewing other agents, right? Ricky Bobby, you not first, you're last, right? So some agents want to know if they're going to be first or they're going to be last. Again, you need to know this because that's going to decide how you're going to come in with your presentation. I like to be last, right? Because when I go into my presentation and I bust out my charts and bust out all my information and I finish with my conversation, I will tell you, nobody ever asked me how many houses you have sold. They go, wow, nobody else showed me any of that or told me any of that. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. My last one that I went on, he had talked to a builder, 2 realtors, and a friend that was in the business or something along those lines, and his neighbors who had sold. And he was like, nobody explained any of that or showed me any of this data and graphs whatsoever. I did not know any of that. So you want to make sure when you go in that your conversation, number one, you're so confident, you have all that data and graphs, you ask these questions so you know what you're talking about, you know what their pain points are and what their pleasure is, what they're looking for, their reward is going to be from the conversation that you had. And then what's your top goal in the sale? Is it speed? Is it price? Is it fluidity with another transaction? Are you looking to buy something else or are you relocating, right? You need to know these answers because again, that's going to decide how your homework looks. And then what are the things you're looking for in your agent? Is it guidance? Is it communication? So these things are going to come up throughout that script that Andy gave you, right? Or is it just show me the money, right? Some people don't want to hear from you at all. Just show me the money. I just want to get 600 grand and I'm done. I don't care about how you do it. Don't tell me about the process. Just give me the money, right? So you need to know those things. Those are going to set up how you decide and how you present. And then you're going to go do the homework. The homework, everything is in this homework, guys. So you're going to go pull the old listing tickets and the public records and the surrounding homes, and you're going to actually look at them, guys. Look at all the pictures of those houses. Look at the details in the listings. My last listing appointment, I was looking at the old listings and I realized, oh my gosh, this other agent has a special assessment on there. That's interesting. I go over to public records. Sure enough, there's a special assessment. I email over to Heather at Epic Title and I say, hey, there's this weird special assessment. Will you pull me the information on it? Because I asked my sellers and they said they don't have any special assessment that they pay. Well, come to find out, the builder, when they built the subdivision, they owed for drains and sewage. And so they rolled that into everybody's taxes. So the seller was paying this special assessment. They didn't even know it existed. And at closing, if I wouldn't have found this at closing, they would have had to pay a few $1,000s to pay off that special assessment. Because I found it ahead of time when I was looking at the other listing tickets, I was able to negotiate that into the deal for the buyer to pay for the sellers. And I was their superhero because when they were texting back and forth with their agent that had just sold, they were like, yeah, our stupid agent didn't catch that. And we had to pay $5,000 at closing. And he was like, I don't want to pay $5,000 at closing. And I was like, don't worry, we'll negotiate it as part of the deal. But had I not looked at the details of the other homes in the subdivision and not caught that special assessment, guess what? It would have popped up on the closing disclosure and nobody would have realized. And then my seller would have been mad at me, right? So it's really important to go through those details of the other listing tickets in the surrounding area. Look at the pictures, pay attention, right? The same scenario, my property had an unfinished basement. Guess what? They're like, oh, well, my neighbor sold for this, my neighbor sold for this, my neighbor sold for this. I start looking at the pictures. Yeah, because they have a beautiful, freshly built out finished basement with a bar and a bathroom, which you don't have, right? So I'm prepared for all of these things and I'm making note in my mind before I go to the appointment. So when these things come up of 123 Apple Street sold for this, I can say, yes, absolutely. And you may be able to too, if you do X, Y, Z, right? This is the differences. Let me show you the difference, not just tell you, let me show you in the pictures. Let me show you on the listing tickets, right? Because our opinions don't matter. Data and facts matter. And that's what we are bringing. We are educating our clients. We're not giving our opinions. So I have 2 websites on there. I also have them on your sheets. There is bsaonline.com that will give you additional information. Okay, BSA is connected to all of the different counties and different townships. This is especially helpful if you're out of town, like I had a lake house in Taos. Guess what? Taos is not on our public records data or our MLS. So the only way I could find the data for that is by going to the BSA online. So utilize that website. Even if there is public records data on our MLS, there will be more data on BSA. It will have sometimes like downriver, they have utility assessments, cable bills, water bills, all your taxes paid, permits. You need to know if permits were pulled or if they need to be pulled. If you go into a house and it has this brand new addition with all this new stuff, but yet no permits are pulled on the BSA, we have some questions to ask so we don't get busted by the city of Westland because your seller, this happened to me, my seller turned a 2-bedroom into a 4-bedroom and didn't pull 1 permit, right? So the only way I found that out was by going on BSA and being like, bro, like, what are we doing here? And again, I am heading off future problems. So I look like a rock star agent because I did the proper homework and went through the BSA. I went through the old listing ticket. I compared the PRD and the BSA and the old listing ticket. And I was able to ask the right questions. And I looked super smart at the appointment, like, oh, wow, yeah, nobody mentioned that to me. Nobody mentioned that to me, right? So our job is to create ourselves as an authority. And we do that by doing this homework. If you are in Oakland County, I gave you Oakland County's website. You can go on there, you can get plat maps so you see how big their lots are. So if I were to click on that site right now and put in my address, you can see exactly how big my lot is. That's really important because especially if you're in an HOA, people start going, well, can I put a pool? Where's the lot finished at? Because all of the houses are right next to each other and back up to each other. So you don't know where this one ends and this one begins. You can find that out from that website. So utilize all of these different tools because again, the details matter. HOA, special assessment, pass-through taxes, water bills, plat maps, permits. Some people don't even realize that they haven't paid their taxes. That sounds crazy, but they do. And all of a sudden you're like, well, you have $10,000 in pass-through taxes. Oh, well, that changes things, right? Same with city inspections. City inspections are something that we mostly only see in Wayne County. So if you haven't done a lot of deals yet, don't think the city inspections are everywhere. They're usually in your suburbs of Wayne County. You don't really see city inspections very often in Oakland County other than Southfield. I think actually only Southfield in Oakland County right now. So know that, know these things, and then knowing if the seller needs accommodations and the different timelines that the cities need. So I will tell you, if I am going to a listing appointment in Dearborn Heights, before I even leave my office to go there, I'm calling and saying, How long is the turn time on city inspections? Does the seller or the buyer have to pay for it? How long is the turn time on water bills? So that when I get there, I can say, hey, listen, you have to order the city inspection. This is how much it's gonna cost. This is how long it's taking in the city. And they're like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Because all of those little details are gonna affect your listing. And again, that's more credibility for you. You're building street cred with these sellers because you are an area expert, right? And that's why it's important too to know what the sellers care about, right? I went to a listing appointment once and I'm talking about how I can get their house sold so quick for, I sold their neighbor's house in 2 days and we'll get it done, blah, 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 blah. I didn't get the listing. And I was like, I called them or I emailed them afterwards and I was like, just curious, like, why'd you end up picking that other agent? And they're like, oh, because she was an area expert. I'm like, I live around the damn corner. What do you mean? But I didn't talk about me being an area expert, right? Because I didn't know that was what was important to them because I didn't bother to ask. What is important to you? What are your goals? What are you looking for in an agent? Had they said an area expert, I'd be able to say, oh yeah, I live around the corner. My daughter goes to these schools. My gym is down the street. I shop at this Kroger. Like I know all of these things because I run around this neighborhood for my fun, So you have to know, you have to ask those questions. And then, like I said, use the data and graphs. So does everybody know where the data and graphs are on RealComp? And has everybody used it? Does anybody not know where data and graphs are in RealComp? No? Okay. So that is crucial, guys. That is literally the first thing that I go through with buyers and with sellers is the data and graphs. And even if you think, well, everybody knows that there's only, 3 days on the market in Livonia right now and 0.3 months of inventory. When you sit down and you explain to a seller, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to set the expectations for our talk right now. I am going to go through the market as a whole, and then we're going to dive down small and talk about your property specifically. But I want to debunk any myths that are out there that you might have seen on Facebook or CNN or ABC or the news or the New York Times or whatever. And I want to talk about specifically what's going on in your city with houses that are like yours right now, right? That shows I care about them specifically, not just, oh yeah, the market's crazy right now, so it's fine, So then I bring out that data. Let's talk about months of supply. And I explain to them how months of supply work, what the months of supply are in their area, how many homes have actually sold. People are always super surprised. They're like, wow, there's been 150 houses that have sold in Novi. I thought nothing has sold. I thought there is no inventory. No, there's 150 that sold. There's 200 that sold. Oh, wow. Well, I didn't know anything. Like everybody says there's no houses on the market. No houses on the market. They think 0 or 3 or 5 when it's actually hundreds. So show them that data and those graphs so that they can actually really see the numbers. Those mean a lot. And then package and prep your docs. So your data and graphs should be on the top. Next should be your CMA. Next, I want you to have your buyer must knows. And then what my clients are saying about me, have some sort of sheet that you give them that has your reviews or reviews about Elite Realty, or even if you want to take mine, that have something that you leave with them that shows some actual facts and stuff that people said about you. Have some stories and case studies. One of the reasons I ask these questions is I start thinking about what stories I'm going to share with them and what case studies I'm going to share with them. So like, for example, if I'm going to tell them a story about what happened with my friend Jen's house, because I know they want to price really high, and this is what happened with her house, so I want to make sure that I tell them that story, right? Or bring other listing tickets. So I want to really be building my book and my case of why they should hire me, why this is going to happen with their property. And then last, but definitely not least, I still always have my fully filled out listing contract with me. And I go through every single piece of those papers, no matter what, even if they don't plan on signing with me, I always start out and set those expectations like, hey guys, all right, and I'm going to go through that in a second. And I go, we're going to go through all of these pieces of paper. I understand you might not want to sign anything today. You might not be signing it for a year from now, but I want to go through each and everything so that when I leave this with you, you guys can have a really educated conversation about what I said. And then if any questions come up or you want to show them to any attorneys or anybody else, you have them in your hands, right? So I always do the same thing for everybody, whether I know if they're signing or if they're not signing or whatever the case is. I always have the package in that order, and that is how I go. I start very wide And then I go all the way down to their specific instance and what is going on in their city with them specifically, right? Know the area, know the market, have some facts to back it up. Like, oh yeah, South Lyon High East, my son goes there. I know that blah, 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 right? The city of Novi is number 7 on top places to live in the state of Michigan today. Little facts like that, people are like, oh, I didn't know that. Like Livonia, I used to always use when we first got in the business. Livonia has the most 2-family households in the entire state of Michigan. So if you want to stay married forever, this is where you want to live. Like little cute facts like that, like seem really insignificant, but again, it establishes yourself as an expert on the area. And it's very easy for you to Google 10 facts about Novi. Oh, they're number 3 on top schools. Oh, they're top 7 in the state of cities in the state of Michigan, right? And have these little facts. And you can even print like, here's the top 10 things to love about Novi or Northville or wherever you're doing your stuff at. And even if it's not like the best city to live in, if you're going to an investor, here are some top reasons why you would want to invest here, right? Because they have the most rentals, because rental prices have increased this much. Like have something to get them excited and to establish yourself as that area expert and to show that you know what you're talking about. You didn't just show up here on a whim after doing 75 other things just to check it off for today, right? You took some time and you actually cared about this.
So what I'm hearing is even if we've sold no homes in that area or even no homes at all, if we're coming up with enough facts and data about the market and the current market, we'll be able to sell them on our knowledge of the area and sell them homes.
Heck yeah.
That's actually the
How long
best
do you
way
have
to
out
do
for
it.
this?
Your brand.
Like on average, I know it changes, but on average.
I usually am at a house at a listing appointment. If they have no questions, an hour. If I am chilling, 1.5 to 2 hours. I'm making friends, man. We're here, and I'm gonna go through kind of like exactly what I do too. But then after like your facts, the next thing that which is a step that a lot of people forget, social media stalk them. Find some commonality. Okay, go and look them up on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Even if they're not on Facebook or Instagram, they're probably on LinkedIn. So you can see some of the things they've done in their past, right? Like I had an entrepreneurship class and we used to have to research people and ask 3 questions about them. And sometimes I had to ask like, what was it like to play Little League in Kentucky? You know, like I had to really go back because they weren't on social media and they didn't, you know, they were a public figure, so they didn't have any of those platforms. So I had to really dig into their LinkedIn and kind of go back a little ways. But you can find something that's a commonality, right?
It
So
almost feels like wrong, but I'll be like, Facebook, oh, they like dogs.
exactly.
And I'll be like, oh yeah, I gotta go with my dog. My poor dog's waiting for.
But it is perfect. It is perfect because you find out what's important to them. And some people are harder to open up than other people, right? But if you hit them on the right thing, like I have a couple that their daughter, well, their son-in-law really referred them to me that I go to the gym with, and I found out that they do CrossFit. So literally I'll be like, oh, happy Murph Day. Are you guys doing Murph today? Or it was the CrossFit Open last week. And so it was like a great follow-up email. I have nothing to say to these people. I have nothing else in common with them at all. But I was like, oh, it's the CrossFit Open. Are you guys doing Friday Night Lights? Just wanted to check in. You ready to go look at some stuff?
It kind of sets the tone to like, you see like, are they a Republican or a Democrat? Are they religious? Are they not? Like, then you know what kind of personality to go, not like to say you're like, changing who you are, but you know what to use and not use with them. Like, because you can make a subconscious comment that could be offensive and not even realize it. So if you go in knowing, oh, they're super religious, they're super Republican, like you're going to be a different way than if you go in and see that they, you know, are smoking a blunt in their profile picture. You know what I mean?
It's true though, right? Like you don't want to drop an F-bomb when every single post on their page is a Bible verse, right? Like we do need to be careful of those things. So that should be part of your homework process is even if you take like 10 minutes, Google them. You know they're Googling you. Everybody Googles everybody. You ain't going out and meeting anybody unless you Google them, right? Like period. So take that time to do that social media check for relatability and write a couple notes on, okay, if the conversation gets quiet, what can I bring up and chat about with them in a nonchalant kind of way, right? Like, oh, I see you have fitness equipment downstairs. Do you cross that? And then last but not least, like, so I have a list of questions ready for the seller to show you've done your research, like on their their area, on their home, maybe even on them. And then have a second set of eyes, guys. Too many people go into listing appointments or send contracts without having somebody look. I will tell you, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I still ask Andy. I send him all my stuff all the time. I'm like, will you look at this and just second set of eyes? This is death. I was like, here, check this out and see if I missed anything I should add, anything I should subtract, anything that doesn't, because we all still have our lives going on. And if I'm writing something and somebody comes in and stops me and then I go back, I might miss a whole chunk of stuff that I meant to put in and I didn't. Same with your listing appointments, your listing contracts, running your comps, setting up your stuff. Andy might know something about, Northville that I don't know, that he's like, oh, you should talk about the new froyo place that just opened up. Like, that'll be great, blah, blah, blah. They have kids. I take 8 into drums over there, right? So always have a second set of eyes that can look at it and kind of give you some feedback on, oh, you know what you didn't check? When I looked at your comps, your house was brick on the outside and all your comps are vinyl and it's in Detroit and that actually matters there. So you might want to kind of go back and see if you can find anything that's vinyl. Right? So have a second set of eyes when you're doing the homework. Next up, the appointment, right? So when I get to a house, the first thing I do, I always try to park across the street and I do the drive up inventory. I'm looking at what's on the outside. The outside of someone's house can tell you a lot. Is there a Michigan State flag? Is there a Harley in the driveway? Are there kids' toys everywhere? Is it meticulously maintained and all of the landscaping is beautiful, right? Like that tells you a lot about people's personality, just how the outside of their house looks, right? And it can give you, again, some things to talk about. The greeting, when you go up, knock on the door and then take a step back so people can see that it's you at their door. That's important. Not everybody has rings, even though most people do. And you want to be like, hey, I'm here, and give some space, especially if they have dogs or cats or humans that are going to fly out the door, right? Like give a little space so they can see you and they can open up the door. When you come in, take your shoes off. Ladies, if it's summertime, be prepared. If you don't want to walk around in barefoot in somebody's house, make sure you're wearing socks with whatever you're wearing to a listing appointment. These are little teeny tiny things that do make a difference, because if I go walk around, if you come to my house and you walk around in shoes, I'm going to be very upset. I'm just going to tell you right now. So I expect everybody to take their shoes off. So when I go to people's house, I immediately take my shoes off. Whether they say, oh, it's okay, I know it's not okay, because your shoes are off, which means you expect my shoes off, right? So think about those things. Greet them. Pay attention if they put their hand out to shake your hand, right? I used to always say, always shake hands, but now we're in COVID time, so not everybody is comfortable shaking hands. So I always am like, hi guys. And I kind of put my hands up like this. That way, if they want to shake hands, then they can put their hands out to shake. And if not, I'm like, all right, who's going to give me the tour, right? First thing we do is we get the tour of the house, okay? And it never fails when I walk into a listing appointment, people don't know what to do. They're like, do we sit down? Like, what do we do now, right? And I'm like, let me set my stuff down. Where's your kitchen table? I set my stuff down at their kitchen table, not on their couch, not in the aisleway. Where's your kitchen table? I set my stuff down at their kitchen table, because that's where we're going to talk at. We talk at the kitchen table. Do not sit on a couch in a love seat and talk. You want to be at a kitchen table, because if you want documents signed, they're being signed at a table, right? So set your stuff down at the kitchen table. Who's going to give me the tour? Have a pen and a piece of paper in your hands and write notes as you walk through. Put your buyer's eyes on. I always tell them, all right, guys, listen, and I tell the sellers this out loud. All right, guys, I'm gonna put my buyer's eyes on. Who's gonna give me the tour? Pay attention to who takes the lead to give the tour. Sometimes 2 people will give the tour. Sometimes one will sit in the living room and the other one will give the tour, right? This is telling you kind of who's the alpha in a relationship or in the household, who maybe is a decision maker, kind of how the conversation is going to go in the future. All of these little pieces matter, okay? So pay attention to them. Get the tour, write all the notes, because especially if they want to be overpriced, right? My last listing, I went in and I was like, okay, and I'm walking around and I'm taking my buyer's notes. Well, there's this piece of trim that's missing. There's this plug cover that's missing. There's weird, why are there these patches over things, And so I have my buyer's eyes on, like, if I was going to buy this house, what would I be asking questions about? What would I be like, I ain't paying this much for a house and this needs to be done, right? And we all know these things. So I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes on everything that the seller says. I'm paying attention to their language. lots of people, especially when you get into luxury real estate or high-end real estate, whatever you want to call it, if you're over $550,000, $600,000, you're going to be dealing with different people. And a lot of times they have what I like to call like their $100 words. So I went through one listing, it was $1 million listing, and the guy kept saying, I'm very pragmatic. I'm very pragmatic. So I literally wrote down the word pragmatic so that later on in our conversation, I could say, I know you're very pragmatic, and his face like lit up, like, oh my gosh, she uses my word, right? So like those are little psychological things that, oh, my happy space in my brain went off. She uses the same words as me. These little teeny tiny details. It sounds crazy, but that could be the difference between getting an appointment or not. All of a sudden, I feel like we're relatable. We use the same language. You understand how much I love this stupid sound setup in my basement, right? Like all of those things. So pay attention to body language. Read the room. If I'm looking around and 6 of you are on cell phones, I obviously need to talk louder so I can get your attention, right? If everybody's tuned out, I need to move on to the next slide and the next subject. So pay attention when you're doing the listing appointments. Same thing. If people are zoning out, you need to talk about something different. If they're not talking to you, you need to figure out why, what's going on, right? So make sure you're reading the room. Take all the notes, ask all the questions, just like you were a buyer. Sit at the kitchen table and have a seller intake sheet out. And I always set the stage, whether it's a buyer or a seller. All right, guys, we're going to sit down here. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then I'm going to give you a whole bunch of information. We're going to go through a lot of stuff. But don't worry, I'm going to leave this whole package with you at the end, so don't stress out like you got to take notes or anything. All right, first question. And then I go through the seller's intake, and I ask them all the questions, what their goals are, what their price is, what they're looking for, blah, 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 blah. I then go through how the process is going to work, and I go through what's going to happen with the buyer, okay? Because that is a step that's missed, and then sellers go, why is this taking so long? And I'm like, well, because the buyer has an appraisal right now in the appraisal world. It's taking 3 weeks. When I bought my house, it only took 4 days. Why does it take 3 weeks? Well, if you did this at the listing appointment and you went through, okay, so once I put your house up on the market, we're going to get an offer. Once that offer is accepted, they're going to go through the inspection. Once the inspection is cleared, the loan officer is going to order an appraisal. And then I have my buyer's must know sheet, which walks through the steps of what a buyer does through their process of their loan. And I leave that with the seller. So there is no surprise if the buyer, their appraiser took an extra week and now we got to push it out. Oh yeah, you told me that takes 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, totally get it, right? So it takes all these questions out of their mind. And again, you're establishing yourself as an expert. You explain the buyer's process as well as the seller's process. I had one listing appointment I went to. Literally, I talked more about buying because they were buying in Florida. Like they were friends of mine and they were buying in Florida, and it was already such a mess with that agent and they weren't getting any offers accepted. So I literally did a buyer's consult. And they were like, oh my gosh. And then I finished off their listing paperwork because I already knew they were going to list with me. And then they used those things to get their offer accepted in Florida. And they're like, oh my, like I did more for them on the buyer's side than I actually did on the seller's side. But it made it so that everything was a smooth transaction. And their review for me on Google actually said, like, the only thing we wish we could have done differently was use Trish for a buy to in Florida, but she doesn't do business there, you know? And so it's like those little things of making sure that you tell them all the steps in the process, not just the steps they're taking, but the steps that they'll be going through with the buyer, right? So, hey, you guys might not hear a lot because for the next 3 weeks, this is going to be going on, or the next 2 weeks, this is going to be going on. And I tell them the pitfalls of what might happen too. If this happens, then we will pivot and do this. If this happens, we will pivot and do this, right? Being ready to discuss marketability versus appraised value. This is a huge conversation right now. Who knows the difference between marketability and appraised value?
Appraised value is what it's actually gonna, the bank clear for, and market value is what you're able to convince somebody to sell it. Buy from you for.
Right.
What
So
somebody's willing to pay versus what the bank is willing to pay.
exactly. Perfect. So when I sat down with Alex and Allie, and they were like, we need to get 500,000 out of this, and I'm like, hey, I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but let's take a look at what's sold so far. Always have your laptop with you so that you can pull up comps in color and show them the pictures. Again, Trisha isn't saying your house won't appraise for this. Here is the system, and I tell them this is the system appraisers are going to use. Here, we put in this information. Here are the 4 houses they're going to see. what do you think your house is compared to these houses? Oh, ours is a little older, ours is a little this, ours is a little that. Okay, great. So an appraiser is probably going to say around here. And I explained to them, sometimes they have good days, sometimes they have bad days, yada, 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 right? But that doesn't mean we can't get it, because marketability wise, you might get someone to pay something else astronomical, right? But here is what you're going to have to do to get that price. Here's a house that's priced at that, right? Can you make your house look like this? If you cannot, I cannot help you. If you are willing to do the work to get your house to look like this, let's take it for a spin, right? So be able to explain those differences. I can't guarantee an appraiser is going to do this. We might be able to get somebody to offer it, but then we need to explain appraisal gap guarantees. We need to explain escalation clauses. We need to explain all of these little details. And again, you're showing your credibility, you're showing your expertise. That's why it takes a little bit longer. But by the end, nobody ever asked me how many houses have you sold? Ever. That question has never came up. Ever. So be able to explain the foreclosure process. This sounds crazy. There's nobody getting foreclosed on right now. Well, you know, what about that housing bubble, Trish? I mean, everybody's waiting for the housing bubble. Why should we list right now? Why don't we just wait until prices go down? Well, let me explain to you how foreclosures work in Michigan and why prices aren't going to go down, okay? Because in the state of Michigan, you have to be down 3 payments for the bank to be able to start foreclosure, right? 30, 60, 90 days to even begin the process. Then you have to have a sheriff's sale. Then you get 6 months rights of redemption. Then they have to evict you. Then a bailiff has to come. So how many months are we out before anything is going to change in this market? We're out 13 months if this stuff started today. You think anything's starting today? No. So if you want to move anytime in the next 5 years in the state of Michigan, you need to go now, because this isn't happening. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. If I stop paying today, it's going to take them 13 months to remove me from my house. If they were on it, if they were on every second, and ain't no bank on it like that, it's not happening.
I was just, a lot of people have been saying, oh, the war. How do you address that?
Oh, I just got that actually. So I have a buyer and I was just checking in on her. Hey, Andrea, just checking in on you. How are things? And she's like, I gotta be honest with like the current climate in the world. I'm like really nervous. I'm like, I totally understand that. I'm like, but if you think about it, like there's always going to be something, right? Yeah. We're in a pandemic. We're in the foreclosure boom. We're in the subprime implosion. We're in the war. We're in another war. We're in the violent beetles and hornets. Like there's always going to be something. And if you want to move in the next 5 years, right now is when interest rates are low and you can get a lot of house for a minimal amount of money. So if this is something you want or need to do in the next 5 years, which you do because the guy that owns your house is going to die because he's 100 years old, then you'll want to look right now. We can look at your pace and we can take our time. But if this is something you want or need to do in the next 5 years, the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be for you on the monthly payment. So we can do it anytime you want, but every month, imagine taking another $10 and adding it to your monthly payment, another $20 and adding it to your monthly payment. That is what is going to continue happening every single month until we get up to probably 6, 7, 8%. So
I like the thing. War might affect commodities coming into the country. War is not coming here, so it's not going to affect it.
I mean, we were in a war for what?
We're always in a war though.
But it's just you've been getting a lot like with everything.
And that's what I would say. Is, like I said, the war's not going to come. War's not coming to our shore, so real estate is fine. Stuff that we bring in, commodities and stuff that get imported, the price is going to change on that because we're bringing it in from war-torn countries. Well, war's not coming here, so real estate's going to be fine.
Yeah, we always have troops in summer, literally all the time, every single day. Yeah, so it's just kind of reminding them of that. Like, I totally understand, like, this is a scary situation, and we can let the media perpetuate fear every day, all day for the rest of our lives and keep waiting on what we're going to do next. But if this is a plan for you, right now is going to be the best time for you to do it. You can wait. I always tell them, no pressure. I'm not going anywhere. I've been doing this for 20 years, going to do it for another 20, 40, 60 more, right? But for you, you're throwing money out the window every single month, almost every single day, because rates are constantly changing and they are not going to be going down. They are only going to be going up. So
and you can also use the wasted time argument too. If somebody's more worried about time than they are money, So you're just wasting. It's another year that you're not in a brand new house. It's another year you're putting your goals on hold, you know, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, going back to their why and their motivation, like for Andrea
People
too.
that are renting too, I mean,
Yeah.
really, it's almost better to buy now than to rent.
Pretty much.
So
It
expensive
is.
to rent.
It is, and that is another thing I used. I said, even if you go to rent right now, the rent prices are actually almost double what it is to purchase currently. Even if you try to go into an apartment,
I just
it's
leased a
insane.
2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 700 square foot house in Commerce for $1,400.
Oh my God. That is so stupid.
And you're like,
How much?
it was like, it's like 700 and some change. It's I mean,
$1,400.
it's ridiculous.
That's dumb.
And I asked them point blank, I was like, so why aren't we buying a house? And they're like, my credit score is 5. So I was like, let me send you to Greg so we
Yeah.
can work that out. And then next year,
Yeah.
you won't have to do this. You can pay $800 a month
Right.
for more house.
Right.
Then yeah, it's just nuts.
Yeah, and so that's what it brings it to, is being an expert and educating them on the process, right? Being interested over interesting. Nobody cares how long we've been doing this. Nobody cares how many we've done. They care, do I want to spend my time with you for the next 3 months? And do you know what you're doing? That's it. So if you come in confident, you come in with facts, you come in with data, and it's a slam dunk. No, there's no question here. Of course I should list with you. You know way more than anybody else, including social media. Holy crap. Like, oh, wow, you told me all these things nobody else told me, right? So being an expert, that's super, super, super important. So case study, right? Little case study. I've kind of talked about this already. So this was Westchester, built in 2018, 2380 square foot, unfinished basement, right? But they have a premium lot, upgraded package, open floor plan, different than anything else in the sub. New builds on the block, on the same block, brand new, 476.5 to 517. Mile away, bigger, finished basement, 524, right? Same block, like houses down, same year, finished basement, 483. What would you each price it at? Who wants to guess some numbers?
I don't know.
What would you price it at, Jamie?
$499.
$499.9? Kylie?
I would agree with that. That way you can capture all of the people who are looking up to 500, because with the market right now, that it's gonna get driven up anyways.
Mm-hmm. Justin?
Yeah, I'm looking at 510.
Okay. Danny?
I'm gonna say the $499.9.
Okay. Steph?
I need more information.
What information
I
is
need to
missing
know
for you?
How many are active, how many are pending, what they are.
Okay.
So
So there's nothing else active in this subdivision except waiting to be built homes.
and then
How
this is
much
for
are
today, like, cause these
Prices
are,
went up, maybe.
this is from last summer.
No, this I actually closed. So I went and did this listing appointment in January, I think it was. February.
This January?
Yeah, this January. Yep.
So I would list it probably at like 519.9.
519.9. Okay. Based on what? Marketability?
If there's nothing else available,
Okay.
How comparable is that house to the new build at 517?
Well, it's not brand new because it's from 2018.
No, I see that. But the square footage, the rooms. all
Everything
that,
else is similar. Yeah.
Then I would like to change mine and I go closer to 517.
517. Okay. Deanne?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm like 510.
oh, I didn't
Because
even
nothing
see
else
that.
available?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I didn't even see that 517.
Those are brand news though. Those are like, hey, I'm gonna build you a house.
So maybe
Yeah, but
They're not even
later.
built yet. Those are like what are listed to be built.
I'd probably start at 515.
Yeah, and older one comes with grass.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's a great point. You already got some grass and some sod and stuff.
Established neighborhood.
Yep.
I'd say around 5.
Around 5. All right, Pina.
I would say 510.
Okay. Stevie? Kristen, you don't get to say.
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I know what it was.
So I'd say probably around like 510 as well.
Okay. Brittany?
I'm gonna go with that too.
All right. Mike?
Yeah, I'm a probably wrong.
Okay, so what else, what other info is missing here?
Beds, baths.
Yeah.
Like the houses.
How about what the seller wants, right? What's the seller want to list it at? What's the seller want to list it at? So when I came in at first, this seller was like, oh, we gotta get, you know, at least like $495. I was in $499. So I also was like, okay, $499.9, right? Like, I mean, your comp is $483 all day long. An appraiser is going to be like $43. It's on the same block. It's the exact same house. And this one actually is a finished basement. Yours has an unfinished basement. So when I'm doing the homework, before I even went to the house, I'm like, yeah, you know, $499 is going to be tough if it only appraises at $483. But I also know there's no other houses, right? New construction's taking forever if it even happens, right? There's nothing else around it. But my missing info is like, what do the sellers want and where are they at in their lives? So when they first approached me with this, it was just like, Facebook message. We're thinking about selling our house. If we do, we want you, right? And that's all I seen. If we do, we want you. So when I went into this appointment, I'd been out of town, so I didn't go through my process, which was problem number one. I didn't ask any of those questions. I just told you all to ask. I didn't ask, are you interviewing any other agents? Because they go, we're going to go through you. So I'm thinking, well, they're going to go through me. Of course they won't interview any other agents, right? I went, we're thinking about selling. So no real time plan. Didn't ask them any time plan or any plans or what they're doing next. I asked no questions. I said, okay, I'll swing by next week. No problem. Don't freaking do that. We have a process for a reason. Follow the process, whether it's your family, it's your friends, because when you get there, what happens is you get all of these surprises, right? So before I go there, we talked about appraisers in the public, right? So we talked about what are appraisers looking at? Appraisers are looking at a mile or less within the last 6 months, comparable square footage, comparable age, comparable condition, and then like icing on the cake is extra finishes. You know, some areas, like I said, Detroit, watch the exterior. Don't go over main roads into other cities, right? Like when there's that spot in Westland where it's like Westland, Garden City, Inkster, and another Westland, right? Like it's 3 cities right on one. And we have one over here too, where it's like Livonia, Redford, Detroit. So we have all these weird things that you really have to watch when you're on the cusp of that, because you cannot compare a Livonia house to a Brightmoor house, but yet they're within a mile, right?
You're gonna say, what about over here? It's like Dearborn Heights, Redford, Inkster, and Livonia.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So we do have to watch those main roads. And then even like when you get down river, they used to have that saying like, oh, they're from the other side of the tracks. That's actually a thing in real estate. If you're on the other side of the tracks, it's considered different for appraisers. So watching those tracks, right? But today we also have the public and marketability. So what do they care about? What else is available in the sub within a few miles, right? So not only was this house the only one available in the sub, it was the only one available for like multiple miles both ways back and forth. So that was huge for them. The competition. Is there a highest and best, or is the listing agent going to present as they come? Now, these are questions that you guys really have to think about and explain to sellers the different ways it could go, because I put these like, you know, thoughts in my head in the past where like, all right, we're gonna do it coming soon on Wednesday, live on Friday, open house Saturday, Sunday, highest and best by this, and then close it out on Monday. Well, that's bit me in the butt before, because guess what? All of a sudden on Monday, I'm getting all these better offers. And I already picked an offer that wasn't even that great. And there wasn't even a lot of people through the highest and best, but I decided this is the way we're doing it, and that is it. And so that's what I told my sellers. So now I'm very careful to tell my sellers, listen, if we say highest and best, you're going to take a chunk of the market that doesn't want to mess around with highest and best. It's just out there. There are people that say, I don't want to mess around with highest and best. So I had a listing in Canton. It was a $520,000 listing. I had how many people through the open house, Kristen? Like 60? And I got no offers. And I'm sitting there going, what in the world is happening? Because I put in the agent comments, highest and best due by Sunday, everybody goes, oh, I start calling people for feedback. Like, what's going on? What's going on? My client doesn't want to mess with highest and best. My client doesn't want to mess with highest and best. I'm like, I don't even have an offer. Give me an offer. No, we don't want to mess with highest and best. And I'm like, oh my God.
Because you're afraid?
Yeah, they don't wanna get in a bidding war, right? So let's take that term off the table. Number one, don't use the term bidding war. If somebody else likes the home, somebody else is gonna like the home. We are not going to war. We are submitting our happiest offer. That is it, right? Do not put in your comments highest and best due by XYZ because you will lose a whole bunch of people right there. Just don't do it. If somebody calls you and says, are you guys gonna be doing highest and best or are you gonna be presenting them as they come? I am presenting offers as they come. If your seller decides they want to hold them or they decide later they want to do a highest and best, that is up to them. But your response is I'll be presenting them as they come. Okay? That way they write whatever they want to write and you can keep collecting offers without scaring people away because so many people are freaked out about highest and best, right? Now, when you start getting multiple offers in, then maybe we can but be very careful, guys, with what you tell other agents because they're then going to dictate what their clients are doing. And if you scare them and they're not real confident or they don't really understand, you're going to lose out on what could be good offers. Okay. So be very careful with that. Don't put highest and best due by this time. If you later on in the process have 10 offers and you want to call it highest and best, that's fine, but have offers first. Don't just put it in there.
I just ran into an issue with that where no one wanted to write an offer because they were waiting for the agent to do a highest and best because they wanted to see how many offers were going to get put in prior to writing an offer. And she's like, I want to call highest and best, but I have no offers currently in my hand at this moment.
I tell everybody I'm presenting them as they come. Every time somebody calls me, I say, listen, I'm presenting them as they come. If an amazing offer comes, my seller's taking it. Those are my exact words. If an amazing offer comes, my seller's taking it. So I let them know they're coming in, they're going in, they're coming in, they're going in. And then I let my sellers know, listen, guys, I'm going to send you offers as they come in. If one comes in and knocks your socks off and you want to end it today, we can do that. However, my suggestion is that we be patient, let the open house take its course, see what offers come in. If we have a second open house on Sunday, let that take its course, see what comes in. Unless you get some offer where you're like, we are too close to the sun and gonna get burned. Like this is the best offer ever, right? And sometimes you may think this is the best offer ever, but you still have, you haven't had it out there a lot of time. So I have really, my last few listings, been trying to let them marinate for at least 48 hours, even if it's a showstopper and you have so many people. Because what I have found is the offers keep getting better and better and better and better.
You're doing yourself a disservice if you put a 48-hour.
Sometimes I'll tell buyer's agents,
4 days.
I'll just say date your purchase agreement accordingly. We're not accepting right away. So if you want it seriously considered, date it accordingly. We're not accepting offers today. But if you want to keep your series offer on the table, date it for Monday if you're showing Saturday, to expire.
That being said too, I also make sure they show it. Unless your client is in another state. So for example, the one I was just talking about Westchester, I got an offer the day it went up and it hadn't been shown. So I called her and she goes, oh, my client's out of town. They just want to write. And I'm like, well, they're not going to accept this. And she's like, well, welcome to 2022. We sell with, we do online sales. And I'm like, welcome to Real Estate with Trish. I'm not selling my house when it hasn't even been open for showings the first day to somebody who hasn't seen it with a 9-day inspection contingency. Not happening. Bring them in, show them the house, and then we'll talk. Right?
Welcome to reality.
Right. That's what I said. I said, if you want a video walk through it this weekend, that's fine. But sight unseen, just off pictures, isn't happening because
With a 9-day inspection.
with a 9-day inspection. Right. So that brings us to the next spot, right? The public is paying attention to the area that it's in. They're paying attention to the traffic. How many people are coming in and out? They're paying attention to the open house, right? Pros and cons of having an open house. I try to always have open houses, but that is a question you need to ask your sellers at the appointment. Is an open house important to you? Are you okay with me having one? Some people do not want open houses, so don't just assume everybody wants one. We want to have one because we get buyers out of that, but we can't assume they're cool with it or they want it. And we have to ask that question because we also get a chance to dispel some myths and explain to them that actually open houses are really great. I'm going to have myself and another agent. We will be here. We will walk people through. It's a way for us to get more eyes on it because we're able to social media walk it through. People will come by, people in the area see it. It creates a good buzz so that we can actually sell the house because people have old school misconstructions that, oh, nobody sells a house at an open house, or that's a waste of time, or it's just strangers walking through trying to steal my stuff. So always ask these questions. Never assume, ask the questions, because that gives you a chance again to show your credibility and your knowledge of what it's like today. Actually, lots of houses sell at open houses. Blah, 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 right? Timing, be patient, like I just said. It's so easy, like, okay, so Westchester, right? Going back to that, let's go back to that really quick. Oh, I don't have that as next. So I'm going to put it as next. We're gonna go out of order a little bit. But what happened to Westchester, right? So the outcome, one more back. The seller shocked me when I got to the appointment and said, hey, guess what? Yesterday we put a down payment on a new construction house, so I need this to know if it's going to sell in 7 days. And I'm like, we didn't even do anything yet. And they're like, well, we put this deposit down, and if we are going to follow through with the new construction house, we need to remove all our contingencies within 45 days. So we need to know we have an offer to be able to move forward. And I'm like, I didn't even know we were selling the house yet, So like, again, I didn't follow my process. So I ended up getting shocked by like, hey, we're putting like $20,000 on this other house and we're doing this. Number two, I missed out on being their agent for the new construction. Because had I asked that question, I could have been like, don't go do anything. I will be your agent and go and register you for your $1 million home that you're going to build and make the commission off of that. So that was like, suck, right? Because I didn't follow my own process, right? So I had an extremely accelerated timeline. They had extremely high expectations for me. When I walked through, the house condition was like really unexpected. Like there was just stuff everywhere. There was stuff everywhere. Baby stuff everywhere, clothes everywhere, shoes everywhere. Like it was a mess. And I was like, wow, I wouldn't have expected you guys' house to be so messy. But of course I didn't say that. I never shared this. I was just like, whoa. Like I was like walking in, I'm like, oh my gosh. And what I just said, there was trim missing. There was like nail holes that were patched. Like the house was in disarray. It wasn't a dump or a hoarder's house, but it definitely wasn't Pottery Barn ready, the most expensive house in the sub. And I'm just like, like this is gonna be really hard, So I had to have a very honest conversation. Now, I didn't say your house is a dump and you have crap everywhere you need to clean up. I said, listen, guys, you are going to be banking on marketability. So have you guys heard of Pottery Barn? You need to make your house Pottery Barn ready. It needs to be perfect, like the homes you see in the magazines, okay? There needs to be nothing on your counters, nothing on your floors, everything organized. I need your house to like look like a hotel. And I like walked upstairs. They had one room that was like absolutely perfect. I'm like, I need you to make every room like this room. If you want me to get this price, if you do that, I will be able to get you a buyer, but only if you do this. And they were like, all right, we can do that. And they're like, repaint everything. And I was like, yes. This is what you have to do for us to be able to get it here. I said, get a pod, move all your crap out, just have your basic furniture, and that is it. And they're like, all right, we can do that. So I also sent an email out to all of you guys because they go, well, what if there's no buyers out there? What if there's no buyers out there? So I sent an email. Anybody have self-lying buyers at this price point? And like 7 to 10 of you responded, yeah, I think I do. And so I screenshotted those and texted to them, look, I have 7 people in my office right now that have buyers that I can walk through your house. Then they got excited. Right? Excited. So I showed interest via the email. I showed market surprises. You actually text me right after that appointment and go, I just got my offer accepted, $40,000 over listing price. And I'm like, oh, this is so perfect. So I sent that to them. I was like, look, it does happen. And they're like, oh, we're doing this. We are doing this. Like when I left, it was like, oh, we're not sure. Like this is taking a big gamble. And then after I sent them screenshots of those things, they were like, we're doing it. We already called the painter. Like you're going to come out and list it. Like done deal. So it was like, even with all the things that I said and all the things we did, it was still kind of on the ropes. But as soon as I showed them, here is some testimony that this can happen and that it can be real, they were like, pump, let's go. Right. So use those, have those stories. And then we determined goals. I said, listen, guys, I need you to tell me what is the bottom line. Like if it doesn't sell for this amount at this time, we need to bail because then you can't get in the new construction house. So they went and they did the numbers. I did a seller net sheet off of the online thing from the title company. And I'm like, at this amount, you get this. And I sent it over to him. And he's like, okay, we can start at $499. We want to get 500. And I said, no. If you want to get 500, we're going to start at 5099. You could very likely go up from there, but we are not starting under what you want to get. So even though my initial was $499.9 as well, when he said we want to get at least 500, I'm like, then we're starting at 509 because people are going to offer what you ask. I'm like, when I have a buyer, I say expect to offer list or more. So if you list at $499, you're going to get offers for $495, or $499, which isn't what you want, right? So we started at $5099. Sellers got really excited. We set the price. I put the ball back in their court, said, get it ready by this date so we can make your things. So you have to be, again, I always tell everybody, like, listen, you're the bus driver. I'm the GPS, right? So I am going to tell you, turn right, turn left, do this, do that. You can follow what I say and get there in the shortest amount of time, or you can deviate and do what you want to do, and it's going to take longer, but we'll probably still get to the same place eventually. And that is up to you. You get to decide which way you want to go. But be honest with your people, guys. If you are not honest, that's why those listings end up expired, right? Real life, real talk. All right. And then what was the outcome? The outcome was, I got an offer the day we listed it, sight unseen, I already told you, at the price with a 9-day inspection. I said, no, absolutely not. This is garbage. I had more offers come in. So we went coming soon on Wednesday. I had more offers come in on Thursday, on Friday, sight unseen, at asking price, with inspection contingencies. I held them, sent them to the seller. They were super excited. They're like, oh, we got our 509. We're excited, right? I'm like, look, we hit the goal. Everything else is great. You just got 3 offers in at your goal. And they're like, oh man, this is exciting, right? Then we had the open house. Open house went crazy. It looked like a drive-in movie. We got more offers. They got better. They got better. We were going to accept an offer. I started telling agents. Agents are like, what do I got to do to get it sold? I asked them, I said, listen, do you care if I straight up tell these agents what our best offer is? They're like, nope, tell them. If you can't beat this, then don't even bother. So that's what I started doing. I was like, you can't beat this, don't bother writing, right? Because I already had an offer that they were going to sign on by midnight or 10 or 11 or whatever it was. So I could tell everybody else, like, if you aren't going over this price, don't even bother. So we finally ended up getting an offer. Like, I mean, literally I had sent it to him to sign and then super randomly. So never discount weird Instagram messages. Like some random chick like messaged me on Instagram and was like, hi. And I'm like, hi. And it was like a really weird name. So I figured it was like for sure garbage. And they're like, we want to work with you on this house and like sent me my own flyer. And I'm like, yeah, okay. What's your phone number? I'll have an agent call you because I'm the listing agent. I can't take buyers. And Kristen was at the open house and Deanna was at the open house. So I sent her over to Kristen. I'm like, I don't know if they came through the open house, like, or if this is even real, like give them a call. And they were the ones that ended up buying the house. Was this super sketchy Instagram message that like I was going to ignore because it looked like super fake. So even if it looks sketchy, sometimes it's okay to respond to it.
Yeah, I always at least say hi.
Yeah. I'm like, hi, shoot. Like I look back and I'm like,
what are you wearing right now?
Right.
And I'm like, blah.
Right.
That happened to me yesterday. I'm like,
Yeah.
hi, I'm not sure. I showed my husband, I'm like,
Literally, but I always say hi. But I always at least say hi to give them the opportunity to say whatever they want.
absolutely.
Yeah. So we, I had more honest conversation with them. Like, okay, like we just got this offer. The offer was $555,000, no inspection, full appraisal guarantee. And I'm like, guys, you can't really get better than this. Like, there's at no point in this can it fall apart because there's no home inspection and there's no appraisal that's going to go short. So
What was their
Is it cash?
EMD?
there's no reason not to. No, it was a mortgage. It was a mortgage.
What was their EMD?
10,000, I think. Yeah, 10,000. So I was like, none of these offers are going to be as good because they have home inspection contingencies, so they could come back, or they don't have a full guarantee. So if the appraisal comes in short, yada, yada, yada. So they did have 2. So this is something else that I thought was really interesting. You guys might want to use sometime in your deals. They had 2 appraisals done. Okay. So if you have a luxury buyer that's doing a big gap and you're worried, you can order 2 appraisals and use the best one out of the 2. So that is a suggestion you guys can give to loan officers, because they had 2 come in, but both of them came in at 500,000. Both, the exact same price. So that was super interesting to me. But we ended up with 2 incredibly excited clients. Everything went great, but it took a lot of patience because we wanted to accept an offer like 4 times. And they wouldn't have been as good. Like they could have got pushed back on inspection. They could have got this. They could have got that. We were way over listing price at this point. Like there was one at 545 we were going to take and thought that was amazing. Then we got 550 and we thought that was amazing. And we got to 555 and I'm like, guys, if we don't stop now, like everybody could just go away and like you're totally screwed. Yeah, exactly.
That one can't run 100 or Plymouth 100 grand.
100 grand over. Yeah. So it's like you do have to be patient. Yeah, 36. Yeah, so be patient. Don't put highest and best due by XYZ because it could scare everybody off. I have 2 more slides. I'm almost done. All right, we talked about that. Leveraging and marketing. So when we're talking about putting our stuff in the MLS, number 1, use professional photos. Oh my gosh, do not use your cell phone photos. Literally, I've been looking at homes for myself, and if the photos suck, I won't even go look at your house. Period. So if you use cell phone photos, it is very likely that people aren't looking at your house. If they are grainy, they are crooked, they show your thumb in them, they're through a screen. These photos make me crazy, and they're $1 million homes with cell phone photos with people in them, like literally standing in front of a mirror taking a picture of themselves.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
Dave gives elite agents a discount on their photos. Take advantage of being able to get professional and edited photos
And
at a
like, let's be
discounted price.
real, what other fees do you really have?
Yeah, and he doesn't invoice until
Like that's your like fee.
I will tell you, you guys went to Vegas or something. So Ryan took he's got a fancy Canon. We had that little 2-bedroom cottage thing there in Waterford. My husband went over, we took the photos with his Canon, not even with the cell phone. We did the best we could. I kind of doctored them with what I could in like Paint and like Photoshop Express. And Dave came back and took photos and I'm like, oh my fuck, this is so, it was just, it looked like a huge house. It was so beautiful. And he did such a great job of highlighting all of the good stuff and editing out all of the shit. After we changed the listing photos, I got 50 to 60% more showings.
I will tell you with Westchester, one thing I did very specifically, and everybody needs to do this, do not put pictures up that are not a highlight of the house. I did not put a picture of the unfinished basement. Because you know how many people would not have walked through because it had an unfinished basement? Tons. But if you walk in and you fall in love with the first floor and you fall in love with the second floor, you'll finish that basement yourself. Period, bottom line. And it is a game changer. I see so many people, they think like, I'm like, the name of the game isn't how many photos you can upload.
It's
So
get people
even
to the house.
it's get people to the house. So do not show like, and Dave sends all the pictures. So it's up to us to decide what ones should be showcased and what ones shouldn't. So like he took a picture of the basement. He took a picture of Alex's messy closet. I'm like, none of these are going in. I don't need a picture of Alex's messy closet or of the unfinished basement. I need to showcase the beautiful kitchen and the beautiful living room and the beautiful bedrooms. And that is it. That is it. Okay.
I just had a question. So what do you do in the instance where, so I've got a seller and he's kind of high strung. And I've explained to him, we went through the process. Here's how an open house goes. I asked him, do you even want one? He was like, yeah, that's fine. We talked about showings. When can people come through? I don't want any showings while I'm at work. Okay. And I think he intends on being there. How do I get him to understand he needs to get the fuck out of the house so that people will want to buy?
Yeah, I would just straight up tell him, like,
I
listen,
don't advise you staying.
yeah, tell him.
Or you cannot say.
As a
period.
buyer's agent myself, buyers and their agents feel extremely uncomfortable discussing the home. And because people, that's something I'm gonna talk about in a minute too. People each use different senses, right? Like you may be a visual person, and so pictures are everything to you, right? You may be a feelings person. So when you are reading the descriptions of the house, it needs to say when you walk through the front door, so you can like feel yourself walking through the front door. You may be a smells person. So you better make sure your listing smells good, because if you are a smells person and you walk in and it smells like dog pee, we are not buying this house. I almost didn't buy the house I have because I walked in, it smelled bad. I walked right out. Andy made me go back to that house to look at it again like 2 weeks later. I'm like, no, I already said no to this. And he's like, but why? I'm like, I don't know. And then I walked in, I'm like, oh, I remember. It smells awful in here. He's like, dude, you can paint and get new carpet and it won't smell bad. But I'm a sales person. So it was a no to me. And I ended up buying that house, right? After looking at literally hundreds. So you need to tell him, like, listen, as a buyer's agent myself, people feel very uncomfortable not being able to just walk through. We vet all of the agents that come through. They have to be with a licensed agent. But if you are sitting there, you can very likely lose buyers just because they don't feel comfortable walking through and looking at it. And it starts them out with that feeling and they won't offer on it just
Yeah, I
because.
had to tell him. He was like, well, I can always go, stand in the driveway. I'm like, you have to leave. I'm
Yeah.
like, you have to leave. I don't want them to see you.
Tell them to just get a Ring camera. Like, be like, I'll buy a Ring camera off Amazon as your closing gift and give it to you early for the show. Or let them use it. Like, buy one and just let them use it for during that time or something. Tell me about, let me help you ease your worries. Tell me about why you're worried about it being shown while you're at work. Ask him that question.
Okay.
May I ask you why you're worried about it being shown when you're at work? Well, I just don't feel comfortable with people being in there without me. Would it make you feel more comfortable if I got you a camera that you could put in there and watch with your cell phone? Because lots of my sellers do that because it makes clients really uncomfortable to walk through. Even if you're just standing outside, it just doesn't start it on the right foot, right?
And I had a client that wouldn't even walk through a house because like the seller was there.
Yeah.
He was like,
I
he went
have
through like
that.
2 rooms and he was like, no, I'm good. We can leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
you're like, son of a-
like, I'll tell them sellers, okay, well, you have to depersonalize the house. I'm asking you to take personal photographs down so people can envision it. They don't want to envision the house if you're sitting there because they don't want to envision you in their house, living room.
Yes.
You know?
And that's 100% true. For you guys, a very crucial key, if you're showing a very picky buyer and they start saying like, I have the pickiest buyers on earth, like the dude actually would bring out black light the bathroom. And I'm like, you ain't finding a bathroom that's not going to show some stuff with a black light. But when we walked through this one house and his wife goes, oh, I can see like this statue here and this photo here, I was like, done deal. And that's the house they bought. As soon as they start saying, I can see this couch here, little Johnny stuff here, this stuff here, they're done. Like that's it. Hook, line, and sinker, right? Okay. So that's a perfect thing. They have to be able to envision themselves there and their stuff there. If you are there, that is blockading that.
That's like why I always sell an empty house.
Yeah.
And if the dude's there, like, oh no.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to tell people to be personalized
I was
either.
just gonna say that's really important.
Yeah.
Depersonalize. Tell that guy that.
Yeah, I had another house in my sub where I lived before I lived there, way before I lived there. And it was one of my first high-end sales. And so I was like really nervous going because it felt out of my league. I'm like, oh, I only sell like $100,000 houses. This one's like almost $500,000 house. What am I gonna do? And I had to tell her, I was like, listen, she's like, what should we do? And I was like, you need, and again, theirs was actually like, looked like it was a mess. Like the kitchen table had like beer bottles on it and stuff. And I still sat there and let them clean off the table during the appointment. And they're like, well, what should we do? I'm like, you need to completely empty it out. And I said, and your wedding pictures are absolutely beautiful, but I need you to take every single picture down off of the walls because all of their walls were covered. Like literally every wall was covered in photos. The whole staircase was like their entire wedding. And like your photos are super, super beautiful, but people have to be able to envision themselves in this home. And they can't do that if everywhere they look is your stuff, right? It's you. Yeah. So be honest. That's really, really important. So the photos, the MLS input is so important. So I put this, I know that like it's getting late, but I want to put this up. So this was a listing that I did, that I just kind of talked about, Windermere. So I went for this listing appointment and this was the pragmatic guy, right? And he's like, oh, our house appraised at $1.3 million, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. And they didn't end up listing with me at first. They listed with his wife's friends something or other. And I had told them, I was like, listen, your house is gonna go for about maybe $850-ish. They listed at $950,000, and the first one, right up number one, was what their agent put. And it's just like a laundry list of crap. Great room with fireplace, custom curved staircase, European kitchen cabinet, sub-zero refrigerator, new oven, microwave. Like none of that.
All that's on the listing ticket already.
Right, exactly. So when I went back through, their pictures were great. They had great pictures. I had Dave redo their pictures and all of their stuff. And then I wrote my write-up, which literally walks you through. You have found the hidden gem of Novi as you drive down the private driveway, through the estate gates, up to the beautiful Frank Lloyd Wright inspired design. You'll be in awe of the lush landscaping, private setting, amazing architecture, one-of-a-kind luxury home. If you're feeling zen, go into the meditation room. We have a downstairs, so it like walks them through the home. So when you are doing your descriptions, don't just list stuff, walk people through the home. And you can do this with any home. It could be a 3-bedroom brick ranch in Westside with nothing. As you pull up to this beautiful 3-bedroom brick ranch, you'll walk through the covered porch into the open concept bedroom, walk them through the home so they can see themselves walking through this home. Don't just list crap. That doesn't tell me anything. Like you said, it's all in there already. Walk them through. Make them feel themselves through there. Talk about things they could do there. I often talk about curving up with your favorite book in front of the fireplace, or hi.
Just saying hi.
Hi. Sitting out on your porch having a cup of coffee over the lake, right? Like talk about things people like doing, having a barbecue in your private backyard, blah, 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 blah. Help them to envision themselves enjoying this home. That is a difference maker, guys. If I can picture myself curling up with a book or enjoying a barbecue or having fun with my friends or family, I want to go see this house. I'm excited to see this house. I'm going to enjoy this home, right? That is so much better. So the other chick listed it for 281 days. 281 days.
Wow.
In that 281 days, followed up with that seller at least 17 times. I looked when they had their open house. I sent them a card that said, hey, I see you have an open house on Sunday. Here's a $5 gift card to Starbucks so you can go have a coffee or a tea on me. I know open houses and selling your house can be stressful. I messaged them and said, hey, they're hockey people. I see the Bruins on the Stanley Cup and they're your favorite team. Just want to say congrats. I messaged them, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. Here's a Halloween card. Happy 4th of July. Literally over and over and over again. Right? With no thoughts that I would end up listing this house again. Then eventually they called me and said, hey, will you come over? And I came over like ready to go through the whole deal again. And he's like, you don't even have to say anything. We're listing our house with you. I told her we should have done that way the first time. Give us the papers. That was it. That was it. It was on the market 2 days. I sold it for $875, which is what I told him it was gonna sell for at first. The appraiser came in at $845, which is what I told him it was gonna appraise it from the beginning. And we closed on the deal and it was perfect. And they moved, and then I helped them buy their new house too. So it's like sometimes you may not get the first shot, but this is where the follow-up is. I followed up with them for 281 days without knowing for sure that I would ever get the listing. But it was worth it for me to shoot them a Starbucks gift card and a text here and there and a little handwritten letter and a Christmas card and all these random little things, because then when they called me, it was like, yeah, he literally was like, whatever you tell us to do, we're going to do. So just tell us how to sell this house. And then when I got them an offer in 2 days, they were like, this is amazing. Like, this is the most amazing thing to ever happen. So, and I didn't really do anything.
That follow-up, like what you said.
It was the follow-up.
for, like buyers too. Like I've had a few buyers, I'll get the lead through whatever. Oh, I've already got an agent. Oh, my aunt's an agent. Oh, my mom's an agent. All right, cool. I might stand to not get that because, it's your family or whatever, but still continue. Hey, looking at their social media, like we talked about, texting them and being personal and sending stuff like that. If they have whether they have to list with their aunt or not, they don't have to refer their aunt. Mm-hmm. So if you show that you've got a strong follow-up game, you know what you're talking about and this kind of stuff,
sure, they might sell their house with their aunt, but when, you know, Susie Q down the block needs a referral, they're gonna think of you.
Yeah.
Cause you stayed in front of them and you
Absolutely.
cared about their crap.
Absolutely.
Had 2 buyers this week alone say, thanks for not giving up on me, we're ready, so.
Boom, right there. So leveraging your listings, this is me wrapping up. Make sure that when you have a listing and you do an open house, that you are finding out if they have an HOA Facebook, so you can boost it in the Facebook group. Making sure you're door knocking the neighborhood. Hey, do you want to pick your neighbor? Making sure you're doing door hangers. Hey, I have an open house on Saturday. Come on by, even if it's just for a free bottle of water and some cookies. Local businesses. Hey, if you especially local businesses, guys, these people that are in a vape shop, they might want to move their cousin down the street, right? So you need to go tell them, hey, I have a listing coming up across the street, just in case you had any friends or family you wanted to come move by your business. It's going to be open. Check it out, right? So neighborhoods, HOAs, local businesses, your social media, you should be leveraging every single piece of your listing. Coming soon, just listed, open house, under contract, inspection cleared, appraisal done, clear to close, final walkthrough, closing reviews. All of those are points in time where you can highlight that you are doing business, or that somebody else's. I put Kristen's up, I put Kylie's up, I put everybody's up, because that gives me more time to show people that I'm in real estate, right? Congratulations, Kylie, on clearing inspection. Congratulations, Kristen, on clearing appraisal. So lean on your team and utilize other people's things if you don't have any yourself, right? A lot of people aren't even looking that closely. They're just like, ooh, fancy house that says closing in red over top of it. They don't even read the message, right? And I think that's it. Let me see. Hang on, because I went out of order. I did that. All right, so wrap it up already. Make a plan. Practice it, do the work, trust the process. Don't skip the steps. I just told you 75 reasons why you shouldn't skip the steps. I lost that on, $1 million buy because I skipped a step because I didn't ask the question. Be patient, be confident, and go out and take massive action. Something today. You didn't learn anything?
I never learned anything.
Justin's offloaded. Now we don't fire people, we offload them.
I never learned anyways.
I hope you did. I hope at least you got a resource on that piece of paper you learned something from.
Yeah. It cost me $100.
Got some Jameson.
I got some Jameson out of it, and that's
Right.
That's always plus.
What's up, friend?
Hey, I just saw that you were mentioning door hangers. I just wanted to remind everybody about door hangers from America's Preferred Home Warranty. It's a great listing tool to help you generate some leads and things. You put your business card down here. It says, if you list with me, I'll give you a home warranty or whatever. So you're offering something of value to get that listing, but it's a great tool. A lot of agents are using this, especially this time of year. Go out and
saves you from buying them.
Right.
Just use those ones.
You don't have to buy them. You just put your business card at the bottom here and personalize it that way. So, and they're free. You'll
No
use them.
excuse to get started.
Right?
Yep, I'll have some.
There's 50 in a pack here.
Thank you.
So, who said that back here?
Thank you.
So, yeah, I'm just gonna throw them on the table. You guys fight over. So.
Thank you. Have you met everybody? Say hi to everybody before
Everybody,
you go.
I'm Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Home warranty. So if you need any home warranty things or whatever, let me know. I'm your guy. I'll take care of you and your homeowner. I'll do whatever I can to help you out. So, and I'd love to meet everybody personally and learn about your business and see what we can do. Whatever. I just had a nice meeting with Tracy and getting her set up and all ready to go. So yeah, I'll be glad to meet with you guys.
Wear that hat.
So,
I forgot about the Zoom people.
Put it on.
Thanks, Jenica. Thanks, Roz.
so.
Hope you're feeling better, Jenica.
His do is, it's that stiff, that's kind of.
Deanne says hi. I know, I forgot too.